Oh my goodness. Wow.
He might call.
Wow.
Oh, he folded.
Welcome, everyone. We are back. Another GG Millions Final Table. We got Miss Xuan Lu in the house, fresh off her huge score in Triton. We were joking before, not a huge Triton score for 800-something thousand, but it is big. We'll count it as a major win, and we appreciate being here, Xuan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a while. We haven't caught up in a while. Seeing that profile there, over 3 million in earnings, 860,000. That's a nice last score, or one of the last scores. I guess you're in Vegas playing World Series events already and other events, so can take a look at the profile there from Xuan. Been in poker for a long time and has a lot of success. Plays high stakes cash games as well. So we do appreciate the time. I know it's busy in Vegas, and we will be having a great show today. We do have some really big names as always, and a big first prize today to be awarded. And of course, we'll look at last week's winning hand, which is a player that a little bit less about, but Argentina there, you can see 2.8 million in the earnings of GG. And of course, nice to make your first final table and win. Not easy to do, but did do that. So let's take a look at that winning hand. Had a big lead to start, and King 7 off, heads up, 600K, 1.2 blinds, shoves and gets called. Ace Jack is ahead, of course. No guarantees, and the hand behind does end up hitting the king. Had to fade diamonds, but that was going to be enough, as we do see a champion. Xuan, you just won a big tournament. Is it stressful? Heads up, because it's, you know, in that moment you're in Triton in there, and it's like, you know that it's just such a big spot. Were you chip leader a lot of the way, or how did that heads up battle go?
No, I was actually never a chip leader at the final table. I was really lucky because there's no pressure on me. I had a 4-1 deficit against Dan DeVoris, and he's one of the best in the world. And I just kind of got to do what I want because people expected him to win, and the onus was on him to do so.
For sure. Guest on the show as well. Great guy, great player. And of course, you know, he's won a lot of stuff. He's done got a lot of earnings. Who knows, 20, 30 million in earnings. I'd have to take somewhere in between there, I would guess. But again, congrats to you. And there we get to see heads up poker. Best hand doesn't always win. Shoves it in. Pretty standard spot. And that was the end of last week's show. So let's take a look at the all-time leaders in the GG Million. We see there, I think I was trying to see if someone on the list today, before I thought there was someone at the final table on the list, but I don't believe so. You can see there a pretty crazy stat, 12 titles for Artur Mortarizian, who is just, it's absurd. I think he just won the 25K heads up in Vegas and has had a ton of success here on the GG Million. Pretty astounding list there. But let's go now and look at the season. So this will be broken up into two parts up until the World Series and then after, and we see right now the B binder with the most earnings and has a title there as well for 1.9 million, almost 2 million. This is just in this season alone, so you can see how many people have already been awarded a millionaire to hit the 7-figure club in GG Millions alone. So that is pretty big numbers there, and you can see the final table is 4 as well for Martirizian, and does have a title as we can continue on here and take a look at our 9th place stack after we see the prize pool. So 368, Xuan. This is GG Million payouts, 10K buy-in. There are re-entries available. I believe the chip leader had re-entered once, but you can see the pay jumps. It's going to be a big first place match. There is no deal making available. What about in Triton, in your experience in big final tables and some of the deals? Do you like to deal, not like to deal? Is it player dependent? How do you decide if you will or won't deal?
I don't think any players at Triton would make a deal with me, but I actually ended up getting into a huge flip for basically the last hand against Dan, and I guess there's a spot because I had 5s and he had ace queen where we could have spoke about a deal, but you know, obviously most of the players are going to have a huge skill edge over me, but there's definitely a time and place where it would make sense.
Xuan, listen, you're gonna be calling hands, doing commentary. The secret's gonna be out of the bag. You know how to play poker, and I'm not buying what you're selling right now. But that's fair enough. Fair enough. But deal making is not allowed on GG Million. That is the point. There is no deal making. There is on GGPoker, but not in this specific format. So we will not see a deal today. We will play to a winner. And let's take a look at our final 9 today. Here is the 9th place stack. I think it's Simon Beckman finished sixth before in this, and also has been around in poker. You can see GGMillion earnings. Always interesting when someone hasn't played a lot of this specific tournament, but has a lot of earnings on GG. So you can tell, very accomplished player, just maybe not playing this particular tournament as much. A good time to play though, right? People are in Vegas or at the World Series, maybe a little less of all the the super wizards on playing. So anyway, he is at the final table. Have you played with Simon before?
I don't think I have, no.
Simon Beckman. Okay, so again, been around, played. They see that Austrian flag, a theme we see here. A lot of players have that Austrian flag. It's kind of like the U.S. with Canada, though. It's, people gravitate in the region, Germany and other places, to play in Austria. So not necessarily Austrian, but a lot of representation in that region. So we'll see how Simon fares. Ninth place with 15 big blinds. Let's go to our 8th place stack today. See what is happening here. This is a player that has won some of the biggest tournaments on here. You see he has 76 appearances, 7 final tables, hasn't quite got the win, has some big scores live. I believe hit like a $3 million or $2 million score at Triton, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been Montenegro last year, but he is in a sort of a 24 blind position. What about this player? Have you ever played before? Tough name to pronounce too.
I don't think so. I've only played with like maybe a couple of these guys, I think.
Okay, well, highest finish in this is 3rd. All-time money list in 100th already. Pretty new to the cash game scene. The live tournaments, but already in the all-time money list at number 100. So let's go to our next player today, where this is Deem SPR, Twitch streamer, part of GG team, has only 4 appearances in the GG Millions, but 1.8 million on GG, and always fun when a streamer makes final table. Generally they do stream it. Maybe it's such a big spot they don't, but you guys can go ahead and check out his Twitch, and a good luck to Dima SPR, who is going to be playing for a lot of money today. And I think we have, again, only 4 appearances, not seen him in this exact format before. So again, 57K in earnings, looking to add to that total and have a big day today. So 27 big blinds, plenty to play against. How many big blinds did you have, if you remember, in that when you just had? Did you come in short, medium, or front?
I came in medium to the final table, but heads up, I had like 16 big blinds to start.
Okay, so yeah, you see 27 here in one of the shorter stacks. It's still a lot of chips. You can play, you can open, you can fold. It's definitely, I think we'll be seeing the odds for the GG client. We're going to see what that price is at, but sometimes these are good value, right? When you're shorter, but you still have 20 plus, 25 plus blinds, it is a lot to play with. But let's go ahead and take a look at our next player, who is Dafan, who just got 5th last week, so in good form, only 5 appearances, and this will be the 2nd final table, has cashed for 40%. Does that screen name ring a bell? Are you playing a lot online or not as much these days?
It doesn't, but because we have stats on what their real name is, it seems like this player is Chinese, and Dafan probably just means rich cow in Chinese. That's what I think his screen name should be.
All right, that's a nice anecdote. I would not have been able to drop that. That is interesting. Rich cow. So, okay, hopefully we'll see another good showing here. 5th place last week, 36 blinds today. And we see again that only 1 final table prior, and trying to win and do better than last week. Like the name, very cool. That's good to know. Thank you for that. And we'll go to the next player today. Who do we have? It is another flag, another tough. Again, these guys are tough. This region is tough. Got that rocking the Austrian flag. 1.7 million, has not made a final table, has not even cashed in GG Million. So first time final table, was at the Paradise in the Bahamas for the WSOP. Did cash an event there. You were there? You played this last one or no? Have you been going to a lot of live stops, or what's been your live tournament schedule recently?
I mean, this year, the Triton one was my 9th tournament of the year. Last year, I grinded in the summertime. I played like 25 tournaments during WSOP. But yeah, maybe like 35 tournaments total in the year. So not a ton of volume.
Okay, so you're a little more selective, quantity over quality, or quality over quantity, I should say. So that seems to be working out, and that's again, the World Series is on in Vegas. If you're there, say hi to Xuan, say hi to me. I'll be there in a few weeks. And what's your highlight event of this? I gotta ask, like, what are you looking forward to most at the WSOP?
Honestly, one of the events I was looking forward to the most actually just passed. It was the ladies high roller. It's never been done before, and yeah, I got to final table that. Other than that, I guess just the main event.
Very cool. What was the buy-in? What was the high roller one? And
It was a 3K. I was in for three
nice.
bullets, but yeah, biggest buy-in for a ladies event. Pretty
And that,
cool.
that was a World Series event. I thought I saw that. I thought it was the win. You cat.
Yeah, it is the win. Oh, you were asking about World Series? Yeah, ladies event and the main event for WSOP for sure.
Very cool. All right. Well, we are again seeing another sort of player that we don't know quite as much about. This is Kasper Engelian, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, in first final table. So good luck to Kaspar today, and let's take a look at our next player. I know we got some household names today. There's one, Jans Ahrens, who has 19 million in GG earnings and 3 million of those in the GGMillion. Pretty insane. 167 appearances over 3 years of playing this tournament right there. So he has a very impressive resume of 20 final tables, 3 wins. And what do you know about Jans? Have you ever played live or online with Jans?
I have. I mean, I haven't grinded significant volume online in probably about 10 years, but I definitely played a bunch with him, and he's an absolute crusher. Everybody knows that.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely. I think again, 100K winner at the WSOP, playing 100Ks, winning them, getting bracelets. That's nice. And again, the flag, it's just like, it's crazy. It's out there. The country demands respect in poker, and we will take a look at our next player as we see another flag from Austria. And here we go, Samuel Vuzden. This is a guy took 4th in the main event in 2022 online. Also a pretty ridiculous stat line: 24 million in earnings and 5.675 coming from the GGMillion. 5 wins in this too, which is up there on the all-time leaderboard. I mean, 5 wins is crazy. 32 final tables, 149 appearances. So I'd say those Jans and Samuel, super experienced between the two of them. 8 titles. No other player today has a win. So let's see if someone else will get on the board, or if these guys are just gonna gobble up the victories here. And you can see again that the cash percentage is kind of wild, which I almost have to double check if that's an error, because that is saying he's cashing 38% of the time in this field. And I guess you could rebuy, right? So it helps, but even then, it's not a guarantee you get to cash that much. So I'm gonna have to stat check that. I'm gonna have to get a stat check if that's right, but that seems like a record, and we'll see how Samuel does today. Let's take a look at our next player. That was one of our more decorated, and we actually get to see a hand as he is in 3rd. So for the top 3 stacks, we will take a look from Sunday, and you can see the blinds 45 9K pretty early on in the tournament here. 8-9 suited, and we know he's going to be playing. Going to open that as first in, goes for the min raise. How do you decide about min raising or making it a little bit more early on, or is it just kind of whatever for you, depending on the table and the blinds and Annie?
Yeah, sometimes there's ICM factors. You also kind of want to see who's in the big blind and what kind of hands you want them to be getting into the pot with for cheap or maybe a bit more.
There you go. Well, there is a min raise, and Michael Adamo happens to be in the big blind. Also, Simon Matson, again, some poker royalty in this particular pot. There's Victor Malinowski also at the table over there, you can see. So a lot of big names playing this, and we start with the check, the King 5-5 rainbow with 1 club, 9 high, kind of giving up maybe, or you would think, but just check. So now check back, deuce of spades, and considering if wants to start attacking or not. Not fun when you don't have not a semi-bluff. Now at this point there's no backdoors, and he is going to come out for what was that, pot, right? 57? Yeah, he went full pot on the turn, so just kind of trying to take it down here. These guys have a lot of history with each other too, maybe some of the most. 2 of the like kind of original names that you remember from back in the day. And gets called. Okay, now a deuce pairs the board, so in my head I'm thinking, all right, that's a one and done, right? You get called and it's just done if he gets called. But now the deuce pairs, and he is considering. I don't think we're seeing a white flag in a highlight hand. I have a feeling probably going to be coming for it.
I was going to say, Europeans probably not potting this turn just to give up on this river right here.
Yeah, got
after
called.
It goes check on the flop.
Wow. Goes for all of it. So he's just saying that, yeah, I have something good. And what would you, I mean, I guess this again, so much dependency on the stage, what's happening in the history, but if you're Simon there, I don't know, it's not necessarily easy to just call it the king either, right? If you had king king queen, or I don't know. Like you're getting some. He's obviously targeting some mid pairs. He's gonna get ace high to fold some of the time, most of the time, and I think Simon. We don't get to see what he has if he obviously folds. I think because Samuel's still in, and 9 high wouldn't be good, but I don't think we'll get to see what he had. What would you be thinking about here if you're Simon to call with?
Yeah, I think I would be quite indifferent to calling or folding here, as Simon with like a mid-pair type hand. Obviously, when we check back the flop, we're not going to have a lot of kings in our range, and we know that our opponent knows that as well. So we do have to look up light with some of our holdings, but he can decide if this is the spot he wants to commit his tournament life to.
Yeah, well said, and a very nice follow through there from Samuel, again showing us that that's how tournaments are played. You can't just walk in and always have the best hand and just go for value all the time. You have to have some bluffs. You have to be creative, and you have to be willing to make a move, and that was certainly one with 9 high on the river. So nice hand there for Samuel. Let's go ahead to our second place opponent here in Pepsi Fanta. First appearance. No, look at that. This goose, just zeros everywhere. Like, he literally is not played on GG even. He just like hopped into 10K, and now he is at the final table in second with 60 big blinds. That is a absolutely epic storyline here. So second place, I would ask you if you know him. Gonna think it's no, because his screen name's Pepsi Fanta with no history. So I'll go with no, right, Xuan? You don't happen to know who that is?
No, but that's a Vietnamese flag, is it?
I believe so. Yes. I believe that is.
Yeah, that is.
Let's get to see.
There's a lot of up-and-coming Vietnamese players. I played with a bunch of them in Cambodia, and this is a very exciting emerging region for poker.
Well, 3 million chips, 60 blinds, and that's true. I went to an APT I went to the one in South Korea, and I know their tours are kind of exploding. And was it that one that got shut down, or was it Cambodia? There was somewhere where they're like mid-tournament, there was like an issue, but I know that it's doing very well.
In Vietnam, yeah.
Vietnam, yeah. Okay. So there's some issue there, but I know they're having great events, and they have that beautiful Lion trophy. But let's see a hand from Pepsi Fanta and what is going on. 2 million chips, 60K blinds. This is deep in the tournament, as we see, because there is short-handed here. What, 5-handed is probably final table bubble. Kristen Wen with the biggest stack, and he is going to min raise with Jack 9 suited. Nice hand, and that's pretty nice flop. Top pair, flush draw against the chip leader. Okay, so it goes for a lead out. Call makes sense. Turn deuce still. I think you're feeling good, right? You got the top pair. You also have backup, but you're also realizing that it's a chip leader. He covers you. It's a big ICM part of the tournament with on the final table bubble, and goes big now. Can't fold. But raising doesn't.
I don't think there's a point in raising either against the size.
Yep. Yeah, we're in agreement, but let's see if Pepsi does agree as well. Okay, improves to the queen comes out. So now, I mean, very strong hand. Lose to the king high, ace high flush. What's that? The third nuts and no straight flushes. Just looking good. Hoping, I guess, Chris will potentially bet, but checks. And I think your hand is, you got to stack SPR of 1 in there. So it's like, do you go for all of it? Do you go small bet, try to get called? I actually like that a lot. You make your hand, the pot's big, chip leader's there, and he decides to bet big, or I'm sorry, bet small and gets the fold. What do you think about that and that sizing on the river?
I think the size makes a lot of sense. So much of his range is going to be flush draws once he calls twice to big bets from the chip leader. I might have been greedy and bet more than that and not get called, but it just depends on what kind of level they're on and what you think your image is and what size you can get away with.
For sure. Well, win small, still didn't get paid, but big pot, and we get to see why there is a nice stack there. 2.8 million. Kristen Wen, obviously, with 3.6 million. Do want to go ahead and take a look at our chip leader, who I believe is that Kristen Wen, who is the all-time money list, has a nice live history, and then on GG as well, over 3 million in earnings, and about a third of those coming from the GG Millions. Has not got a win, does have 5 final tables, and got fifth at the main event in the WSOP. So that is a big score there at the, I guess that is supposed to be 2024 WSOP Paradise main event, since 2025 hasn't happened yet there, but it will, and maybe we'll do, you know, some forecasting for Chris. But that is, again, a big score he just had. And how about Chris? Have you played with Chris Nguyen? I think someone who's kind of been playing more recently in some
I
bigger
have not,
stuff.
but I know he's a online cash game crusher, and he's been battling on, you know, online with the best in the world, and he's definitely a rising talent.
For sure. And again, rocking the Austria flag. Kind of crazy today. It might be a record, and I feel like I say that every week because I think I've seen 5. Is it 5? It's at least 4 Austrian flags today, as we will see a hand from Chris, who is on the button here with 6-5 suited. That must have been like the next hand, right? We just saw 2.8 million for Pepsi, and then Chris lost the pot, and we're at that same stage of the tournament here. And I do want to remind everyone, we will have the same 3 giveaways, $50 GG tickets. I also put on Twitter a giveaway for, do that right after we take this break before the final table. I'll have a $50 cash giveaway. And I think we might even have some GTO Wizard giveaways again this week. We're trying to figure that out. But we see again a continuation bet, and now these two are tangoing for a big pot. 5-6 suited. Flops pretty well. 4-4-3 open-ended. It was a rainbow flop turned flush draw of spades, which he does not have spades, but see what he does with 6 high here in position. Little less fun to be calling here. You have 6 high. Spade, 7 or deuce of spades somehow might not be good. You're drawing, and you do have position though. And he does call, and you miss. So very interesting spot now. Jack, 4-4-3. Chris on the button here. We can kind of predict he wins, right? It's near the final table. We're thinking he's going to go for it, but let's see.
But they're both at the final table, so.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's giving up. I think because he ends up being the chip leader.
That's true.
And he does have 6 high. I think we'll see a bet though. This is curious to see the sizing. We saw a small bet last time where that is not a small bet. That is all of it. That is asking for the whole bit, and wow, just goes for it. Just absolutely puts it on the line there. That's a sick hand. 6 high, takes it down, shoves it in. And what is the when you're in that spot, you have 6 high. What's going through your mind in terms of what needs to get the job done and to go for it? Maybe where half pot or the small bet versus the all in, and tell me about, is that what you think is that the best play in that spot, or is it you just really have to size up what you think your opponent has? And I mean, what are you trying to get him to fold? I guess that's what you're asking. How far down the hand rank list can you get? You know, is he going to call with sevens? Is he going to call you with ace high there ever? And does it make a difference, I guess, between, you know, where you go? But he went for the all in. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of sus, the size, because it's obvious you want to get Pepsi to fold off a chop with like ace high or something like that. And this is like the worst hand you can get to the river with, and you have absolutely no showdown. So you definitely have to go quite large here. And the texture is actually quite dry, so there's like not too many draws that you could have made it to the river with either. So I think it's actually fine. Because yeah, it's gonna make it like Pepsi's life really difficult to lick you up.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I think that's one of the things that's most fun about this tournament in particular. Watching high stakes players in spots where they seem to know what to bet in what spot, and it's also very polarizing. These are tough because it's obviously a bluff or the goods, and it's, you know, asking you to play for your tournament life. So you really do. It puts more max pressure on. It's not just like you call and you're wrong. Okay, I have 6s here, or I have 8s here, and you know, if I'm wrong, I still have chips. It's like, no, you gotta play for all of it, and also if I have it, I'm gonna get all of it. So it's very exciting to see when these bluffs, some of these highlight hands aren't just aces, kings, ace, king. These are players that are putting it in on the line, going for bluffs. So let's go ahead and get to the betting odds, which I'm gonna let you lead us off, Xuan, and I know you're your first time as a guest on the show, and you've seen some, but we just want to explain. You get 100 units. There's three choices. I'll let you start. You can break up your 100, although it's for fun, right? Play chips, and then we'll put a dinner on it on if one of our players win or not, if you're up for that, and we will let you choose first, and you can bet however much you want out of your 100.
I guess because European Samuel Boston has like is the most experienced, and he has like the most chips amongst the most experienced tournament players. I'll put most of my chips on him, probably like let's say 45 credits.
Okay.
Jans
That,
probably gets 40. You know, they have a similar
hold on,
stack.
we're gonna alternate. I can't. I'm the gentleman,
Okay.
but I can't let you pick all three in a row.
All
I'm gonna
right.
have to. I'm just gonna let you
Oh,
lead
we're
it. So
drafting.
you get
Okay.
yes, draft. It's a draft. So you get that's one. I wouldn't let you blow. Tell me who you want next. I'll pick one though. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Jans. Yeah, he's just. I think he's for that price. I like it, and he's also still plenty of chips. So I'll put 40 on Jans. So now you're your second pick.
Okay. So I have 55 to work with.
Yep.
I will, since you got my second pick, because I showed my hand way too soon, I'm gonna pick Chris Nguyen, and I'll put 40 on him.
40. Okay, so all right, that's a good bet. Chip leader 3.6 to 1. He's got a lot of chips. I am gonna go with all right, you know what? Yeah, I'll take Pepsi Fanta. I can't go too far down the list. This is a real money wager, so I'll go 30 on Pepsi Fanta, and then you have your last pick.
Very cool pick, the unknown Vietnamese.
Yes, and second.
My last pick, you know what? For some pride from where I came from, I'm gonna pick the lucky cow
Oh wow. Yeah,
for the
you
rest of
did
it.
drop
Wild horse.
the anecdote on that name. Okay, so you got your three picks, and I'm gonna take the long shot at the second to last there, Vasa. I'm just gonna call him MV, and we're gonna go. I think I have 30 left if I'm not wrong. Did I say 40 and 30 or no? I think I went 40 30. I'll put 40 30 30.
Mhm.
That'll be my three picks. So that's a nice payout if he can get it done. And again, has won some big stuff and is in good form. So that'll be my picks. And I think the audience at home, again, if you want to be involved in the giveaways, you got to hit the subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up today if you're enjoying the show. Let us know where in the world you are watching from. I will be getting a tweet out in the next 5 minutes, and we will have a $50 cash giveaway for that. And Xuan, where can people follow along? Where's the best place? Social, Twitter, Instagram. What is your most active and spots that people can know what you're doing within poker?
I'm on Twitter, but I'm not like super committed to it. I like Instagram a lot right now. I'm trying to post more and grow that platform. I post almost every day, whether it's in my stories or actual posts. You have silly hands of me playing on stream there as well. And I'm also on YouTube.
Okay, and you have you're on YouTube. What is your channel about? Is it like vlogging, or are you just putting like shorts and clips, or what is on? Is it your name, or what's your channel
Yeah,
there?
it's just my name, youtube.com/Xuan. I do vlogs sometimes. People don't like vlogs that much unless it has a lot of poker hands. But sometimes I'll sit down and review some of the poker hands I've played on live streams.
Very cool. Okay, so there you go. YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. Not Twitch. You streamed on Twitch ever or no? Or did you ever do any?
I
I thought
used
you
to, not so much anymore. When I stream, it'll be on YouTube these days.
on YouTube. Okay, cool. All right, well there you have it. That is Xuan Liu. You're fresh off the Triton win for 800 and want to say 60,000. A lot of money, and a big congrats to you on that. And again, everyone, we will be back in exactly 5 minutes. We're going to take a short break. There will be no breaks once we begin. And I do also have the highlight hands on my YouTube every week. I do go back and we put those for just the knockouts. But we love that everyone's here watching live. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do the 4 giveaways during the show, and we will see everyone in 5 minutes. Welcome, everyone. We are back fresh off the pregame show. Again, Xuan Liu joins myself, Jeff Gross. We're going to have an amazing show today. We have big money up top. We got big names. And, of course, the 368 to first. Crazy. 10K buy-in online. This is from Sunday. Play to winner on Tuesday. And at this juncture, we get to see the seat selection, Xuan. This is something fun where I don't know if you've seen this or you know on GG how they do this at the final tables. Based on your stack size, you get to pick first it goes from the lowest stack to the top stack. So kind of not much to do when you're the shortest, but when you have the large stack, you do have some decisions to make, and generally go to the left, right, of the next biggest, but that's not always the case. And we're getting to see the seat shuffling right here. Anything jump out for you strategy wise? Like if you're doing a seat selection here, sort of if you're a middle or short stack, can you do anything, or is it kind of you got to wait? Do you think? I mean, I always ask guests because I'm curious and I'm not sure the right answer how much you can do at the beginning.
Yeah, I've this is an unfamiliar process to me, but like, why wouldn't Simon just pick the button as the short stack here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that so you would I think you do kind of want to head that way if you're the short stack, but everyone's they're moving anyway. So I think he's trying to anticipate where maybe some of the big stacks will go, or he might get moved, right? He's like thinks maybe it's more likely that he'll get
Oh,
moved because your seat isn't locked. Like you can still
oh, I
get
see.
moved. Whoever
Okay.
picks where they want to go and they switch with you. So you can see Samuel just switched with Chris, and
Hmm.
then Pepsi's the next biggest. So he is going to go to left of Samuel, and now Chris actually could just take direct left on those two, which is likely, but not, sometimes you go away, right? You just get across from everyone. But okay, so he actually took direct position on Samuel, and that I would not have expected. So he's putting Pepsi there two to his left as the second stack. So all right, there you go. That is not normal, and you can see they're using a tournament M ratio for the chess clock. Also on GG, something different is you do get a chess clock, so it's a running clock throughout. You use that, you have that to operate throughout the final table. If you end up hitting zero, you will only get 5 seconds per street to act. And we have seen that. We've actually seen sometimes where it heads up, both players have zero clock, but oftentimes it makes people play quicker and they maintain the clock throughout anyway. So you can see that is the stacks. And we see Jans go to work early with King 5 suited, and Chris is going to flat. And we see an 8-9-3, two diamond, one club flop. These are always fun. No one has anything, but Chris actually does have two overs and a backdoor flush draw, and Jan's pretty much whiffed. And Chris's range looks fairly strong here, right? Flats the small blind, going to usually have sort of suited Broadway or pairs. That's some of the more likely hand combinations. And now he does pick up that flush draw.
My guy versus your guy.
It's a early important pot for potentially a expensive dinner, and let's see if Chris can take it down, or if not, Jans may attack. I don't know. I think Chris is looking good here. He's going to lead it out, and not much Jans can do at that point. So, all right, Chris, first blood for the chip leader. He did choose that seat, and he wins the pot in the small blind. Now he has the button, and he is up to 4.5 million, and we see a big hand there for Sam.
Let's go.
And actually, Jan's gonna open. I was thinking maybe we could see a raise and a call from Pepsi, but defend. But this way, this could get interesting though. That ace four, ace five
Mhm.
suited, right? Those are sometimes the big, the most popular selections to play aggressively back. But we do just see a flat now, which is inviting Pepsi in to the pot to close the action with the 7-4 suited. He's got a lot of blinds. Curious if he does do so. He does come in, and queens get a nice flop in a multi-way pot. Well,
Yeah, I
Jan's
can
with
see how.
two. He got flattened two. He's got two other opponents now here, and he's not in position, so he is going to start with a check. Are you surprised by that flat? It's just maybe because ICM, they're both so much chips, doesn't want to get crazy, and also a little bit of deception.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can do both, but when there is a very short stack, you generally want to keep the pot smaller versus a stack that can definitely cripple you.
Yeah, well, it turns out it does get the Jack High rainbow pretty big. And there you go. Look at this as a Pepsi Fanta showing us a little bit of spice out here early with the little bit of a check raise for an affordable sizing. This could go a couple different ways right now. This is definitely interesting. And depending on the turn, we could see a fall through. There's some cards, the 5, the 4, the 7, the 8. Just gonna call the 5. There's one where it makes it a little more exciting to continue, picks up some additional equity, open-ended. Unknown, right? Zero, not entered, never been on a tournament, just in here. Zero entry, zero whatever, and we see an unconventional hand right away. This could be interesting. Samuel, I don't think with all those things considered is gonna be bowing out, but like if this is just some like crazy, okay, so he does slow down, and Samuel, that's not the best card in the deck. The 8-9 is the obvious draw on the Jack 7-6 rainbow, the best draw, and that does complete, but still queens over pair to the board. Okay, he does check back in. Wow, the seven comes in. So he was a little concerned. He did slow it down, and then the seven comes in. So now let's see what Pepsi is going to do for a sizing here. Does hit his seven, and got to feel good with the check on the turn in this particular card. Wow, it's going to let him off cheap. I mean, Samuel's certainly not folding here for that price. There's all the jacks, all the sixes, all whatever else could have like 5, 5, 8, could have a lot of things. I don't think he's. There's a chance he could try to raise, right? I think that's almost like what's going on. He's definitely not folding. He's no chance folding.
Yeah, I can potentially see him going for value here, but I assume he's probably just gonna call. Pepsi Fanta is kind of an unknown. Maybe these guys have a lot of hands on him, but um,
Wow.
yeah, unless they have like a strict read, I would raise here a lot of the time as well versus the size.
Yeah, you can't blame him on that board. It's like relatively safe. Like, how did he check raise? Like, what 7x does he check raise? That's kind of the question too, right? Like, if you have a draw, you have 4-5 or 8-5 or 8-9 or 8-10, and it's going to end up working out. Pepsi's going to kind of, I think, short circuit Samuel there, and just doesn't see how he could have a check raise, just trips seven there, which is pretty gnarly hand to start out the final table here, as Samuel's going to take a big hit. And again, credit to him. I think you do kind of just have to maybe go for that value, right? Your hand is so strong. Often they're going to be the best hand by far, and he got shown some bad news. So good start for Pepsi, and unfortunate for Samuel, who's now pretty short.
That hand was so interesting. It could have gone so many different ways. And really, Pepsi Fanta was only in there because European decided to flat the queens. So I would definitely love to see Sam Greenwood do a breakdown of that hand.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a very very interesting hand to see. I think he would. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'd arrive to raising there, right? That's likely. I think the best play. I think you could then go into the exploit category and uh, see how maybe you could talk yourself to not raise. But here we go again. So we get the ace four. Was that a limp raise? Correct. He did go for a limp raise.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this is one of those ones where I think if your cost price just kind of falls in that bucket of King 10, maybe a little too good to raise to open up exactly the scenario where you could either get bluffed, but also like a weak ace that gets to uh you know get you into these spots where it's like you want to. He's still gonna call, so he's gonna get shot up here. Ace four now versus King 10, two modest holdings, blind on blind. Widest ranges do take place here, blind on blind, and we're get to see some poker as the ace four is still in the lead with 850 in the middle, and all of a sudden, basically for chip lead pot, right? Started out as tied for chip lead a little bit, actually chip leader at the start, and now is going to be coming with a half pot bet on the flop.
It's probably going to do it. These BVB spots are quite tricky. And with the ICM pressure again, with Simon being so short, I don't see Casper continuing here.
No, it's going to be very hard. But he's using. I say it all the time. Think long, think wrong. He's burning some clock here, burning a bit of clock, and I don't know. He's really not buying what Pepsi's selling like the whole way. I think he's just like he doesn't have a heart in his hand. He's thinking, but he doesn't have a lot of room to get creative here. What's he gonna do? Call? How could you raise? So it's like you're gonna call, leave yourself a million. There'd be 1.6 in the middle, and you have no idea. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
All right,
Okay.
we're Xuan. You brought people are out
Prove
here
me
two
wrong.
stepping. People are showing off out here in the at the start. Pepsi is this is not normal stuff. I gotta tell you, this hand is out there. Sam Greenwood's gonna be busy. Might have some different hands to look at here.
I
Wow.
generally won't hate this with his specific holding. Having that 10 is nice and the king is an overcard to the board, but it's still a three that BBB pot, and the hand previously you just saw Pepsi Fanta check raise, with middle pair, so like this isn't necessarily out of its range, this board.
Yeah, this is exploratory all around. I'm really curious where this is going to go because your Pepsi though, like what you can't, are you going to call? Like I mean, this okay, well played, genius level was 4D chess, all of it. That is nice hand. Dions is amused. Dions is enjoying what's happening here. This could be a quick day. I just have a feeling there's gonna be chips flying. This just feels like people are really really going for it. Off a short sample, we're seeing action.
Yeah, props to Casper for sure for reading that hand correctly, reading the situation correctly.
Yeah, very, very nice hand. Okay, we're gonna get the tweet out here. So we will have that $50 giveaway, guys. And there's GTO Wizard recommending a check right out the gate. We see it gonna pop up throughout. Believe we have some giveaways for you for GTO Wizard. We're gonna figure that out. I know we were trying to get that done where it wasn't just done via email to provide in the chat, and then we'll have we'll have the other 3 GG tickets as well. And so okay, there's a small bet or check. You see the options and does go for the small bet. If we know anything about Kaspar, he's not going anywhere. It's saying call. Pretty sure he's not going to deviate for a non-aggressive or at least call here, right? He's got the ace jack. We saw him get saucy before, and he does have the best hand here. And against the chip leader in late position. So a lot of things are sort of leaning in my mind towards continue, right? Queen 10, Queen 10, ace jack against chip leader, have the gut shot, and actually raising. That's not even on the GTO Wizard chart of an option, but that is Casper is going for it. We see a fold highly recommended, and Chris is going to abide by that. So Casper is quickly becoming a bit possibly table captain here, and I think Chris is going to have a little bit of tough seat. These guys are playing on the left of him. They are not just bowing down, and Samuel's short as well. And Chris now with ace jack, seeing Simon go for a min raise. These are tough hands to play, right? It's a short stack. You got a lot of players behind you. You are the chip leader. You're not necessarily obligated to be the sheriff, and does get out of the way. It was dominating the Simon Open, but would have run into Kaspar here with the ace king, and this is looking like a good spot for him again.
Yeah, if you 3-bets here, it's definitely going to be pretty sus to Simon. Just seeing the other hands play out. And I assumed he was going to be pulling that King 10 BBB before I saw his stats, but those are some pretty loose aggro stats for these stakes.
Yeah. Yep, this is actually this has been pretty unique start, I'd say. The more so the Kaspar hand, the Samuel, you can't blame him for going for the value. 7-4 though, the check raise was 7-4 in that spot for that size. That was definitely not a mandatory spot. And this is kind of frustrating for Simon. So he is actually going to roll the dice. He's just like, I'm going for it. I have queen jack suited in this particular spot. It's actually not the worst. He's not dominated. He does have a live spot, and now he's got a flush draw possible. No diamond on the turn, needs it on the river. About 16% of the time is going to happen. Not going to be we're down to 8 just on the very start. It's at the first orbit. We do lose a player. Samuel's short. Chips are flying, and a 9th place has been awarded there. So we're down again, short at one of the shorter stacks, though, right? Not a huge thing to go for it there as a short stack. Try to get back into it. The risk premium is low, and we see another big couple of hands here, and this could be quickly down to 7.
Yeah, really unfortunate spot for Samuel. And I don't blame Simon for his jam. I think I probably would have preferred to just call there. You have a lot of playability post flop. Not that it would have mattered because he flopped a flush draw, and the chips probably would have gotten all in anyway. But I can see how with Casper's image and his super high 3-bet frequency that the jam there might be good as well.
Yep, well said. All right, ace king to kings, pretty straightforward, basically a cooler, although ace king is going to win more than you think. You see the percentages there. So far, so good. Picks up the wheel draw, 3 or an ace, or we'll be seven-handed on the river. No slow peel. They just shot it right out there, the 6, and that is going to put us down to 7. So Xuan bringing the action early. A couple big stacks. Kaspar chipped up. Pepsi's got 3.8. Chris with 4.2, Jan's 2 million, and then you see everyone else. So all of a sudden, okay, fast start, but everyone still has a lot of chips. There's no real short stacks right now, and Jan's gonna give it up there, give the walk over there. Was it 4? How many? Who are the 2 players we lost? Was one? I think was Simon Austria flag. We see there's 3
I
remaining.
believe
I
so,
think he
yeah.
was. Yeah, so maybe 4 players today. No Brazil. That's rare. No Brazil flag today.
And just
We
like that, my top pick to win the whole thing is gone.
That's true. He did well. The queen's hand was pretty brutal. Got him off to a tough start, and then he gets coolered with ace king. So yeah, he is out, but you still have 2 left. And the Fanyu, here we go. The what's that say? Rich cow? Is that what that means? You said
Mm-hmm.
is in a
That
good spot.
final.
The Fanyu with 2 10s against the chip leader who's raising into him. Maybe would just call if he knew how good a spot he's in, but this is just too good a hand, and I think he's just gonna go ahead and kick it on up.
Yeah, I assume so. And there's no super short stacks here either. So definitely are looking to get it in versus chip leader in this BBB spot.
Yeah, I gotta get this started. I'm getting this tweet out. Guys, get you guys a $50 cash giveaway opportunity and 3 GG tickets today. I hope you guys are having fun. This has been a fun start. Min raise from the streamer, Twitch streamer, GG Team Dima over there, SPR. He's got that green writing highlighted on his name. And Pepsi gonna just come back with a re-raise here.
Believe this is an unconventional 3-bet from out of position, but he is one of the chip leaders, so he can kind of do what he wants.
It's a play way of saying things, Xuan. This Pepsi stepped out as he's been out of line, and he is showing us a few things. He's off to a fast start and is up to 4 million. So another nice hand from him. Really basically tied for the chip lead at the moment. We've seen some big hands. 7. There's another one. Kings. I didn't even look at. I was saying every hand seems like we've had jacks, we had ace king, kings again, and Jack 9 suited from under the gun. You hate to see the raise. He's just such a playable hand, but again, not really where you want to be peeling out of position at this stage of the tournament. And short stacks, you just gotta give it up.
I definitely want to see more hands from Pepsi Fanta, though.
I think you're in luck. I don't think Pepsi's going to be folding a ton here. Here we go. Got the button. He's going to go into a couple of real hands and should end things right away. Kaspar's getting some big hands too. He's gotten some nice timing. He had the ace king. He now gets again, goes for the flat, and this actually may work out well. This could be a all in here. Really not a
Wow.
bad hand selection because ace 10, you don't want to fold. Calling feels bad. I think he is going to jam. Pepsi's certainly out of line. I don't think he expects Kaspar to. Oh, he had one. Oh, well, I mean, an ace king is not really like a trap either, right? You're kind of inducing like some hands, like some mid pairs or something, and all of a sudden you are going to get a great spot. But this is a really insane hand too, and gonna go ahead and he's not calling to fold to that. I don't think, although it's a ton of chips, right? I mean, he's still like it's kind of interesting. It's almost like yeah, he's putting it in 4 million chips early on. Huge implications for the final table. King comes, needs runners, and that's it. The DD drawing dead on the turn. DD GG as we are down to, is that 6? I gotta queue up the giveaways. I haven't got the tweet out, Xuan. We're down to 6-handed poker. I mean, what are we, 20 minutes into the show? This is a fast start, but again, it does level out, right? The blinds are still small, so there's a lot of chips with the players remaining. Try to get get this situated here. But wow, what a fast start. Nicely played by Kaspar.
Yeah, that flat. Both him and Pepsi had like 4 million as two chip leaders in this tournament, and it could not have set up the seventh place finisher better.
Yeah, great play. I mean, do you think how much of that do you think is trapping versus just not wanting to like not play a huge pot by three betting when they're so deep? I think it maybe started out a little more like that, and then maybe I wasn't expecting the. I mean, it has to be a pretty specific hand for the Vas Boykin on the shove there, right? Like he's got to have sort of a hand just like that. I mean, it's he's going to go multi-way a lot of the time and play a difficult pot with ace king out of position. But as it worked out, got in a great spot and held.
Yeah, initially I assumed it was just to not want to bloat the pot versus Pepsi, but then I saw Mikolai's stats, and he was also V-pipping a lot, and his aggression factor is actually quite high, so it makes me like the flat even more.
Yeah, really cool. All right, I did just get the tweet out. I will get the link and drop that in a bit, but that is live. If you guys want to guess on my Twitter, Jeff Gross Poker, who you think will win, doesn't have to be correct. You can just make the guess and hit the retweet, and you will be eligible. I will pick that as we see GTO Wizard coming in, and this is split. What it says to check or overbet.
Again, it's two chip leaders kind of going at it. I assume he might lean towards check, but then he also has quite high of an aggression factor, so.
Well, he did get it right. He got the overbet. He found it. Overbet for he check or overbet, went bet and went big. Got the alignment with GTO Wizard as he is up to 6.2 million. On my mobile setup, don't really have the chat up as just I can't see everyone out there with the comments, but appreciate everyone being here. I hope we're having a great time. And again, we appreciate Xuan in Vegas taking time out during the World Series to do this. And this is fun. We'll have to have you on again. This is your first time on the show, and I think again, this is it's fun. It's 10K buy-in. There's no guarantee, Xuan, but what I'm trying to say is people that come on the show generally have a huge success right after. You've kind of done the opposite. You just had a big score, so we'll see. But it's like historically, people have done immediately afterward done very well. It doesn't hurt because we have a lot of great players come on, so we can't take a ton of credit, but there is a lot of good results to follow often. So no guarantees, but we'll keep an eye on your WSOP out there as well. So you're playing a lot, right? You say you'll play like quality, but you're gonna play the main. You're gonna play a bunch of bracelet events still this summer.
Yeah, I mean, cash games are still my primary focus, but when I do have time and energy, I do like to make the tournaments count. And I find myself playing a lot better when it doesn't feel like a grind and I don't have a tournament lined up every day.
Yep. Yeah, I think you said you stopped playing as much online the last 10 years. And also I think at the World Series, a lot of us, I will say they've been around for a long time. I remember playing each year at the World Series. I do feel that was sort of like the normal thing would be to just play every day or play a lot. And it's sort of it does seem to go better when you play less, right? When it's just like, all right, yeah, I really want to play this specific event. I'm going to play this, not just because there's so many events, 100 World Series events, right? You can bust, and then there's like, an Omaha event or a mixed game, or there's some other stuff going the same day, and it kind of can leave you just where you're like, you're in an event literally from, all the time, and that is, it does get tiring, and you can, I don't want to say, yeah, whatever. You can fizzle out, and the energy gets low. That's why I do seem like people that come later in the series or break it up where they come and go. I think they seem to have a little bit better overall, at least from what I observe. Obviously, it's hard to know if that's like, at least for the people I know, that seems to work better. And yeah, that's again, if you're joining the World Series for the first time, good luck out there, have fun. And it's also, we're getting older, Xuan, right? As if you're 21, 24, and like you're going out there, I'm gonna go for it, play every event. But I just know as I got older, I kind of was like, all right, yeah, I can't just like do this every single day, every event. But it's hard to pass though, right? You see like a mystery bounty, you see something fun, and it's like, all right, I want to get in here and just play. So aces for our nickname that means rich cow is coming in, and Pepsi with an ace on the button. Also tens over there for Dima, the streamer. This really doesn't have much of an option other than a cooler and seeing five, I think. I mean, I guess there's a world. He's the shortest too. I mean, he's not really look. Yeah, that's tough luck, and now has about a 20% chance, or we'll be down to five. And let's see, it just feels too fast right now, Xuan. This feels like, is it really, are we just going down to be at five within 25 minutes? It doesn't seem right, but that's the case. There's no 10, there's no both flushes were covered, and good game is right. And that is a 2.8, 4.3, 2 million, 6 million. This is a record. I'm sure we have not been to five-handed in 25 minutes. That I'm positive about that. So we are, again, it could end up being the longest show ever still, Xuan. Don't get too excited. What time is
That's
it over
true.
there? Yeah, it
Could
could
be a
still
3 hour
be
heads
a
up
long
battle.
heads up. Exactly. There's no guarantees, but fast start, and we see everyone remaining has at least roughly 40 blinds. Jan's is our short stack, and he's got just under 40 big blinds.
I'm glad you mentioned the age thing because we've known each other a long time, and it seems like, yeah, we both come a long way. And that's definitely how I feel. I'm not a grinder like I used to be. I just listen to my body, and otherwise, it's a tough industry to be in. Um, you want to perform your best, but you also want to only be here because you have a lot of freedom and flexibility in your schedule as well.
Yeah, no, it's well said, and it's similar to online too. I think where anyone who plays online poker is guilty of at one point pushing the boundaries on what their personal limitations for screens are. Some like the Mormons or Patrick Leonard can play 25, 30 tables or whatever and play well, but I think a lot of it's similar to live. Less is usually more to focus and be more relaxed and play better online too. I think that's like a common thing. People generally play a little too many tables, just because it's fun, right? You're like, oh, how am I gonna miss this bounty for 150? But really, you're taking away from a bigger tournament the focus. And yeah, I think that's principle is true for live and online. As we see Jans with 8 high, and he is going to decide to bet. Close spot with fives, hard to make a pair. Blind on blind, two good players. This is pretty close. I mean, both flush draws miss. He doesn't have a diamond or a spade, and also he has a pair in the jacks out there. I think it's a decent candidate to call. Of course, he will get shown a queen or a 7 or a 6 enough. And okay, good bet. Can't blame him for folding.
Yeah, in Chris's spot, I'd be also kind of indifferent to calling or folding there with an underpair.
Steve Danneman says it. It's only a small mistake to fold. That was one of his rules from the WSOP. That is a, listen, making. I think in general, population tendency, people call maybe a little too much or don't fold enough. And on the rivers, generally, people aren't bluffing as much. So that's credit to Jans, and can't blame Chris. And Defanu just got those aces again, and he is against an aces cracker though, the 5-6 suited. If he doesn't go big, there's a chance he does get called to in position, but let's see. He's thinking about how big to go. Pepsi might have gone small, right? Like Pepsi kind of did that inviting 3-bet. He's gone a little bit smaller on that 7-4 suited. They check raised on the flop, but this even at this size is still enticing for Kaspar, but I might be a little too much. It's close. Okay, so he is going to call, and wow, we might see a big pot because 5-6 suited does pick up the open-ended, and if it is against a hand such as ace queen suited, something like that, your 5-6 is live right now. You got to know your 9 or 4 are good. Your player doesn't have jack 10 suited here almost ever. Gives him an affordable price, so he'll call at least one. And we saw him shoot it up before, right? Is there ever a world where he raises? I doubt it. There's just too good a price, and maybe get to get a little more of the story. Although we did see Kaspar go with the king 10 early, which was a huge hand. He basically put it on the line earlier against Pepsi with the bluff, and now he is chip leader, but in 8 pairs.
Yeah, I think the 6-5 is a bad draw, but it's still too good of a hand to raise and potentially be blown off your equity in this spot. So just
Yeah.
flatting is probably the best play.
Gets a little less exciting now, I guess, the implied odds. Like, so the 644, I mean, this is, I think, where the story ends. But again, Kaspar's shown us the willingness to battle, and he does have 1.5 behind. So if he calls, it'd be about 2.5 in the middle, 1.5 behind. Maybe there's a world he thinks that his opponent would slow down, right? If doesn't have ace king plus here, doesn't have ace or ace, but he is just, yeah, cuts it there, cuts the story there. I think that was fine, and nice pickup again with aces for Defanu. We're seeing some nice holdings on multiple players in the hand, and that is partly why we're five-handed already. All right, we are still again five-handed. And Queen Jack, Ace 10. Queen Jack closing the action will call, and pretty fair fight. Queen Jack is good. Ace or 9 is good. Ace 10 flops well, though. And GTO Wizard is saying to always bet small on this board in this situation with the Ace 10 suited in position against the big blind, and does just that.
Yeah, Pepsi Fanta should be defending such a wide variety of hands that, on this King 10 board, you always want to be c-betting. This would be interesting to see how Pepsi Fanta continues. Obviously, he has a lot more chips, so he can apply a lot more pressure.
So it does go with the raise, and raise small. It is small, considering the pot size, and although it's about 3x, it's still small. And the club completes the club draw, and it is saying to bet small again. That's a full recommendation. Do you think it's scarier, Xuan, seeing the GTO Wizard and that this is out there, and especially when players match up a lot with do you think, or do you think it's just kind of a necessary thing at this point where it's like kind of people are using it, it's out, people are talking about solvers and such. Where do you stand on,
Yeah,
I
I mean, the
guess,
game has
GTO?
been around for a while now, and I think it's just going to keep evolving. This is just this current iteration and phase of the game right now. And, players are becoming more resourceful. And if there weren't these tools, the game would be kind of boring. Everybody would still just be kind of shooting blanks in the air, and no one can really justify and prove that whether something is good or bad. And I think the game becomes more boring. So I think it's helped grow the game. It's made it more fun. Things are, more justifiable and provable now. And it makes the average person feel like the game is really based on skill and not complete luck.
Yep, well said. Think that's completely well said. All right, well, we got a mystery hand, and we have two Austrian flags battling. Kaspar and Jans going at it. They are players that are not afraid, and let's see if Kaspar comes in raising or limping. He does go for the 3x, King 5 suited. Tell me, what do you think? We're definitely playing.
I think as chip leader, you want to be applying max pressure to ooh
Hmm. Hmm.
to Yens right now. So definitely raising a lot.
I dropped the stat. I think it was Fedor who startled him with the stat line, which was nice. But it was 118 to 1 to flop a flush if you have a flush draw and a three of the same suit come out. So this is a strong flush. The second up flush. I mean, you can't really ask for a better situation than this. And now the question is, do you check or bet? I mean, your hand is so strong. He is going to check, and interesting. Gonna get the queen of diamonds out. So again, I guess third nuts, technically second nuts, and really, right? 10-8 of diamonds would be a straight flush. The ace of diamonds, and obviously not the best card, kind of kills your action a bit, but GTO Wizard going to come in. We got a mystery hand, GTO Wizard hand. This is a lot of action. Check, bet small, or bet large now. So we have three sides. And Xuan, what do you think?
What do I think he's gonna do or what he should do? Again, you can basically pick any route right here. I think versus an aggressive opponent, maybe I would lean towards check or bet small to give him some more rope to be creative and put in more chips with a much worse holding. If
Well,
you
so
if you
interesting.
bet,
It says GTO Wizard says a call 100%. So we know they at least they got to have a diamond, right? I mean, to be calling 100%. I guess it's a small bet though. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't have to have a diamond because of the
yeah.
sizing. So we're not sure. We're guessing what Kaspar has, and if you're Jan's, okay, so you have the second nuts. You have two diamonds in your hand. It says bet large 100%. And sorry to interrupt your train of thought, but this is interesting. Let's see
Oh.
what he bets, and then we'll kind of play what we think Kaspar might have.
Yeah, Casper can also call on the turn with like a straight two pair, even top pair sometimes at the sets. So it's not just he needs a
Yeah, it's
diamond.
not guaranteed a diamond, and because the size is so small, right? That's also like just doesn't
Mhm.
mean that. Uh, yeah, that could be in there with other holdings, not necessarily flush. Now raise would be wild, like to get check. This would be so crazy to get check raised, and if you're Jans because you flopped the nuts basically. Um, yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. I mean, okay.
Oh.
Hello, Xuan. I mean, we're seeing a lot of everything today. I mean, this is saying you have to call. Now you're Jans though. You're winning 100K WSOP live events. There's exploits involved. You can't breathe. He might have fallen out of his chair. I hope he's okay, or if he was sitting down while he's playing right now, because this is like you never see this flop in a million years. You're never expecting this type of action. It's saying you got to call. I'm surprised it's 100% call. That seems. I mean, and how much of a difference does it make that he has that other diamond? Just the more likely his other player doesn't have it. A little bit, like I don't know. I guess it's just all right. Let's before we audience one is Casper. Is he does he have it? Does he have the nuts? Or two, is he bluffing? And Xuan, what do you think?
Oh, this is so tough because he's such an aggressive player. I think at this level versus this type of opponent, you just have to side call. You're not trying to be very you're not trying to get exploited here in the future by folding the second nuts just because you
I
got
guess
check raised all in.
my question though is what is the bluff? This is like these are so hard to bluff. These under like what is he bluffing with though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
like, yeah.
guess.
What blocker are you bluffing with, and why? Like, it's like, so is your hand just not good enough to call that you had the king 10, but wouldn't you just maybe call with king 10, like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. This is hard. I actually don't know. These are really tough spots. I think he's
You're
bluffing
right.
somehow
This
just because of the player profile, but it seems so hard to find a bluff. I'm gonna go with bluffing.
I agree. I mean, this spot is too advanced for me to figure out what my bluffs should be as Casper in this
Yeah.
situation.
I'm
Um,
sticking with GTO Wizard. When in doubt, if they say it's 100% call too, like that makes me feel more confident. Like, yeah, and this guy's wild. So we're gonna go call. Audience, curious what you think.
yeah, I don't. He either has ace of, I was gonna
Wow.
say
Hey, there
like
you
a
go. Bluffing. All
10,
right. We got it
but
right. GTO Wizard got it right. You got it right. I got it right. Hopefully some of the audience got it right. And we are gonna say nice hand and turns it into a bluff. And that is a dangerous man. This is all of a sudden very look at these chip stacks. 3.5, 4.2, 3.5, 4 million, 3.6. Don't think I've ever seen that. So there we go, Xuan. I'm back from short final table to this could be a record. Everyone, this is like now a shootout. We're at a shootout final table, 30K, 60K blind. Everyone has like 60 blinds basically, right? That's now what has happened. So this could go a couple different ways, but it is a unique final table as such. So very very nice hand. And I think again, I do think you do have to call there, but how much do you think it matters that he had a second diamond in his hand or not there, or does it not really in that moment?
um, I mean, once it goes four flush and that second diamond is so low, I don't think it actually matters too much. given Casper's line.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious on those nuances. That stuff I'm actually not sure there, but as played, he did make the right play. Went big bet, got jammed, called, had the goods, and we are on to now another hand where Queen 8 suited has a pretty good draw and is against a hand that is just speeding. Needs a 9 or a 4 on the river that's not a diamond in order to take the lead in the pot, but might. Pretty sure it won't work here. Not going to fold. Not going to get him to fold, but all right. These are fun. No one has anything. Queen high is the winner.
This is just a limped pot. I
Yes.
assume. Yeah.
We got 1,700 watching. I just hit the thumbs up myself, Xuan. I hope you do that. Take a second. Want to say hello to everybody. And we are going to be giving away some nice tickets today. So want to make sure you guys are doing that. Be subscribed, hit the thumbs up, be eligible, and I'll put the keyword at the end of the stream once we're down to 4, 3, and 2 handed. Nice big bet with 9 high.
Yeah,
Queen
he
8
kind of has
suited.
to at this point. You know, BBB ranges are so wide, but he can't really give up on this river.
Nice hand. Nice for him not to have diamonds or hearts either. So he gets to kind of, maybe his opponent had some draw there. He does go ahead and shell it and get it done and regains his start of the day chip lead. Pepsi Fanta, what a name. Defanu, great screen name. We're having some household names and fun screen names. And Chris gonna go ahead and get in the mix and just decide he wants to tango with Fanta here as the pair has arrived for both players. And Chris now out of position and with a worse hand.
Yeah, I assume like especially being a cash game player, like Chris might just be wanting to get into pots with Pepsi Fanta. You know, this generally probably shouldn't be appeal from small blind here, but it has some playability.
All right, well, that is a nice card for Pepsi Fanta, who has now a check mark on the hand against Chris, but doesn't know that. It is a pretty draw heavy board. Let's see what kind of sizing he goes with here. Yeah, like it doesn't need to go extraordinarily big. I mean, he's even if an opponent does have a draw, right, with the hearts or open-ended, it's like if they do continue even, they're not going to be able to necessarily go for value on the paired board. He bets less and well, about half pot takes it down, and Chris does give up a pair there as he was in big trouble. So nice fold. Players are playing fast. This, although is pretty even stack, could go. I don't even have a guess. I've never seen this distribution of chips where it's like 5-handed with this even of a stack. Those are fun. The shootouts too, right? World Series, you get down, you get to the final table, or get deep, and then everyone has the same stack and playing for the money, kind of like a sit and go. As yeah, Chris is gonna call here.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely a product of everybody being in Vegas for WSOP. That's why it's such a, you know, unique final table for this tournament.
Yeah, it's true. I think it is definitely a little bit less than normal, although it's still at 368. There were a fair amount of runners. It's not like I think that's why we're seeing a few more unknowns. A few people have come in here that aren't
Yes.
regular and also have we know a few less names today as the ace 10 and king jack both pair. And GTO Wizard saying check. So ace 10 saying possible to bet, but check also makes sense. The flush did come in. Ace 10 is going to now make a Two pair, but four spades out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, this run out just kind of crushed all action when neither have a spade here, even though they both flopped a pair. Oh, wow. Okay. Chris does decide to go for thin value. I like it.
Yeah, I gotta say
Probably,
that's not one I'd
yeah,
be going for. I feel like that is super razor thin,
for
but
sure. Probably more of a cash game move for sure, since there's no fear of like in the tournament, if someone reopens the action and puts a lot more pressure on you, it's that pressure is very different in tournaments than in cash games.
that is a fantastic bet. That was really high level stuff. Got called by kind of exactly the hand that, I guess the thought process there is like so many people are polarizing there, but he's actually saying that, I'm not just betting a bluff or a flush. I am betting some value that is not that, and I think your hand is likely going to be what you have, and you can pay that. So that was actually a fantastic bet, and credit to Chris for making it. Got called, and now is over 5 million.
Absolutely. And I assume, if he has the same kind of read on Casper, he's assuming that Casper's probably going to lead out for, various sizes on the river with the flush.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right.
I wonder if he's thinking of doing the same thing and going for a super thin value here with his ace king. Oh, wow. This is definitely a value bet too. That's the sick part. Insane.
Jeez, and scary,
Very
scary out there. I feel
impressive.
safer in the booth right now. This is high level stuff
Hmm.
from Chris. Wow.
But now I wonder if you're one of the other players, if you're going to be looking for spots to check raise bluff on these rivers when he does go for thin value.
Yeah, it's a great point. All right, Jack 8, Jack 9. Blinds upper left of your screen. You can see 14 hands when we will go to the next level. And the one thing is that does happen though when we lose players quickly is the blinds go quicker up, right? Because the five-handed and it goes per hand every 20 hands. The blinds go up, so it does go quicker. All right, we have got ourselves Pepsi Fanta's first timer. So actually, or yeah, I'm sorry, Jans is one, right? We said Jans is one, I think 3 times this tournament, and then Samuel had won 5. So one of the other, it's either going to be a repeat with Jans or we'll have a new champion for the GGMillion today.
I think, yeah, Jans has won this 3 times. Is that what you said?
Yep.
That's impressive. Final tabled it 20 times. So
Yeah, yeah, these are crazy stats. I mean, some of the again 3 years of playing this tournament, right? He's played it literally on Sunday, at least this tournament for 3 years of his life. And there's definitely experience with this on the blind level and understanding the structure of the tournament, right? It helps to be familiar with that and knows kind of the inflection points when the ratio of the ante is different and when to attack. Also the structure with the blinds, how it starts early and when the cutoff is for rebuying. And definitely I would say that even with 2.3 million right now, he is one of the favorites. Been here a lot, very very versed in this tournament, and here he goes again, picking up a pot. And 3.7 million is a lot at this level, so it's only 30-60K. He's got 60 big blinds right now.
I love the emotes from Jans in that spot too.
Yeah, he's feeling good there's gifts on here too. We see pretty animated group. This is seems like everyone's having fun and they're playing fast. No one's short on their chess clock. That number you see there, every player, the shortest stack right now is Casper, who has 6 minutes and 30 seconds, but everyone playing pretty quick. Do you prefer playing with the clock live or not like clocks?
I do. I prefer it. So often, especially in the US, I find that tournament play is just way slower than it needs to be. I like my 15 seconds pre-flop.
Yeah, it does see it's sort of like that. It just kind of gets everything moving. I think it gets people conditioned too. Like these people just they just stop trying to waste time at all or just realize it doesn't do anything. And then it just kind of naturally makes everything go faster. Ace nine
Mhm.
here, going to be good for the win.
Yeah, I'm so accustomed to playing in loose and fast, high stakes cash games that like if I take even 5 seconds to make a decision pre-flop, it's someone's gonna complain at the table. So um, for better or worse, that's conditioned me to make my decisions faster. But if I were playing with these guys, I would definitely be more wary and take more time.
Yep. Yeah, it's a fine line. You don't want to at some point you want to not be giving away edge and play too fast, but also you want to respect that. I think that is more in the cash game culture and the higher stakes too. It's just people generally do that and respect each other's time and
Mhm.
understand that that's just the best way to go about things. But yeah, we've this has been a debate for a while. I think a lot of the major series have found ways to kind of combat that. But I did see some with Martin Krabel or Krabel, however you pronounce his name, and some other stuff going on there where there was some debates about that because it is hard to enforce if someone really wants to, be a pain. They can still cause problems and make it a bit enjoyable for everyone. And wow, again, man, this is our guy. This is your play. This is there. And again, the aces against people that have something. Got the aces and the tens, and this could be a really big pot. I mean, there's a chance, I guess, just flatting the re-raise from him from the small blind in this situation in this player type, but still, it's ace king five handed Xuan. I mean, it's a big hand
Yeah, I don't see them getting away from this hand. You know why? It's because his name and his avatar are so lucky, and it's supposed to be a really lucky year for Ox, and that's what his name means. Very lucky
oh,
Ox.
well, well, that's a lot to. That's I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was the year. This is definitely okay. I don't like Casper's hand that much anymore at all. Now 8% feels like okay. So I did say it said he might just call, and he did do that. There's a good chance going to save some money here. Although it does have the ace of spade working, and this is saying to check or bet small, and saying you have to call even with the ace king on that flop looks really not good. Queen high to spades, but of course there are bluffs. There's other things, and you do still have ace king. Kind of on a free roll, right? At this point, that could have easily got in, and now 1.5 in the middle is 2.3. I mean, this ace king starts shrinking up here on this board. No spade continued.
Yeah. I didn't mean they had to get it in pre-flop, but they were definitely seeing a flop with these hands.
For sure.
Um, yeah, post-flop, your ace king high could be good here a lot of the time. Plus, you have the backdoor spades not going anywhere, and your hand's too good to do anything else.
And now it's saying you got to just fold. But I mean, really, again, could have been a lot worse. We'll see if he does end up getting out of the way. I feel like calling or continuing here could be crazy. Although there are some players that could play this, in how it plays this way just to try to get aggressive after the flop. But as played, I think you got to get rid of it. And he did save himself a lot of chips. Many players would put the money in and re-raise pre, and that would have been it, as we saw, would have been drawing dead on the river. So nice avoidance there. And Casper's impressing me, at least in the sense, it's not like too tight or just seems like going for it, really sticking with the reads. The King 10 hand went for it was correct and got a good result, I guess you would say, against the Ace 4. And then, in a spot like that, Ace King not showing us that it has the discipline to get off of it.
Absolutely. Really fun player to watch.
Yeah, been playing well. Okay, nothing going there. Jan's pick it up. Still very even. Let's look at what everyone is guaranteed. 109 was our 6th place finisher, the Twitch streamer GG Pro Dima, and we have 5 players left. All getting nice scores. Pretty big jump here between 5th and 4th. And the pay jumps again. No deal making. Going to play to a winner. 2 3s. Stefano. Going to raise.
Jeff, are you superstitious at all?
I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't say superstitious, but I do. I'm into energy, and I I wouldn't say superstitious, but I'm not oblivious to things that are coincidences or paying attention to some things. How about you?
Yeah, that's mostly my approach as well. But I think, I'm big on the manifestation train now. I haven't always been, but I think just being very intentional and focused on what your goals are tends to have good outcomes because you're constantly being reminded of why you're doing things.
Yeah, no, I mean for sure. I know. Yeah, that's a good way. I like how you said that, and for sure, I agree with that a lot. I do think you make your own luck a lot of the time, and you can be on It's like to be distracted or do a lot of things at once. I think it really is a big difference to be off your phone when you're playing and be present, and that type of thing really does go a long way. And be intentional for sure. As you see, Ace 4, Chris gonna have a winning hand here, almost certainly not gonna get not wouldn't fold, and I don't see Stefani really trying to go for it here at all. So. Um, yeah, I think it's hard not to be distracted these days when you play live. I just think like there's just again so many stuff, so much going on. You even mentioned you have like a YouTube channel, Instagram, these different things, and just like in general, you're playing cash games or want to know the next thing is. It's kind of hard when you're in the tournament and you're like, oh, there is a great cash game tonight. So if I bust the tournament, I'll go play that, right? Like I just think it's so many times that we can find ourselves not being fully committed to a situation. It's like, oh, if I bust, I'm gonna fly out here tonight or go back to LA for someone's birthday. These type of things. Like it's really hard to say you're giving your best when you have these things kind of in your head and tugging you around, which I just think with present day there's so much of that going on. And as I'm a father, but whether you're married or you have a girlfriend or friends or things and so it's like or whatever it is, like it's just easy to be pulled a lot of ways. And that is definitely hard to be your best in poker for sure.
Absolutely. When you treat everything like an option, you tend not to do any one thing very well.
Yep. That's that's well said. He's got the wheel spin. Was he thinking about repping the I got 3-5 blockers? I don't think that's gonna be the move here, but he's considering it is hard to
I
make a pair. It is hard to make a pair in no limit hold'em.
Yeah, I think the wheels are turning. It's definitely entertaining to even just watch him thinking about, bluffing this spot.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked against the 2 pair, but I think he had all options were on the table for a second there. He did get out of the way. Pepsi with the queen 10 off, gonna come in playing. 1 hour into the show, we have lost 4 players and pretty even at the moment with the stacks.
And I think it's quite fair that you and I both still have 2 players left.
It's a good sweat too. It is even-ish. You have Chris and what I have
And
Jans
Mr.
and
Cow.
Pepsi, and you have 8.7. I've got so 8. That's very even.
Hmm.
Very even. We are seeing Queen 10 go betting and 8-9. Can't do too much here. He's always when you see him with no No, just this type of hand and using clock. Wonder if they're, yeah, I couldn't see a check raised there. Five-handed. Who do you think wins? You've made your picks pre, but did anything change? Do you think at the moment with the stacks and how it's gone? Forget about your picks. Let's just say you were to repick right now. If you could win first, who would you pick?
Um, oh boy. I mean, I think it would be great for poker if Dafaniel won. I think Jans is probably still the favorite, even though he's second in chips, just based on his experience. As stacks get a lot shallower, I just assume he's gonna know how to navigate the terrain a little better than Chris, even though obviously Chris is very talented. Um, especially playing a little deeper. I assume he'd be the best out of the bunch.
Yeah, I think Jan's probably the favorite right now. This is an important pot and turn. Does 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 drill the ace. Still a lot going on here though. 3-4 has a straight draw flush draw. Gonna bet and not a big bet. Yeah, 3-4 got the 5 or the heart. I think for this, yeah, this price gotta play. Gonna brick. And ace king. Good river. Overall strong hand here. See how big, what kind of size goes for. What's the most tables you ever played online?
Like 24. At that point you just treat it like a video game.
That's a lot. I don't think I've
None
ever
of
I played.
them very well at that point, but sometimes you just want to autopilot and maybe get your rate back or something, and then it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's that sort of school of thought to it. If it's well, it depends if it's you're talking tournaments or cash games or mix.
I've done both, I think. Not like super high stakes or anything, like maybe like 1, 2 at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember how many. Something like same thing where it gets kind of fun. It's like fun, but then you realize you're really not playing. You're not really playing poker. You're kind of just playing the spots and not the actual player. But yeah, 24. Well, I think that Nano Noko, I think had the world or he did have the world record. I saw that. I was in the PCA. That was like probably like 10 or 12 years ago, and then I think he had like 48 or 50 or something. He had to play profitably for an hour, and he did it. But that was yeah, that's crazy. That's a little bit overkill. I think it was. Do you remember that? Was it 50,
Oh
56 or
yeah.
some absurd number?
Randy is next level with that kind of stuff.
It's just really mind blowing. Yeah, that was a Guinness World Record. Someone's talking about the longest. What about longest session you've ever played awake? That you've played a poker game where you didn't sleep?
Online or live?
Let's go live. But I mean, I guess either. But I was thinking live.
I mean, when I was younger and had, more of a addiction problem to poker, I would go to casinos for like 24, 36 hours, no problem, and just grind all day. And you can do anything when you're younger. It doesn't really affect your body these days.
Which casinos would you play at mostly?
Like I played at charity casinos near like my university. So at like Brantford Casino, at Fallsview Casino, I pulled long sessions, some home games, all over.
The Phil Lock set the record. Then they took it. They stopped it because it was dangerous. I think Guinness used to have a world record for how long you could stay awake. Might have been like 12 or 13 days. Someone did. I think Phil played 4.5. He played like 116 or 18 hours at the Bellagio. I remember I was there for part of that, and he had no coffee, no Adderall, no drugs. He got like tested, and he booked a win. It might have been like 10-20 at the Bellagio. But then someone beat his record like maybe a year or two later, but it was like 120 hours. So how many days is that? 96 is 4. Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 days. But actually, Phil told me that he wasn't even a little bit tired. He had to stop because like he was worried because he wasn't tired at that point. And I'm like, I mean, that starts getting a little crazy. But yeah,
Yeah, that can't be good for you. Like, I'm pretty sure he just lost like a few days, got that shaved off the end of his life for doing something like that. Like,
so that's a crazy. Yeah, no, I've never stayed up for 2 days. I've stayed up for 36 hours. I think I used to, play or be like playing for something close to that, and then being up from, was up before and then after that. But that was, it's like you do feel like you just feel like a truck hit you after that. Like the next day you wake up, you're just like, oh, it's not, it's not a good idea. Like you just
mhm.
completely crushed. 7-8 has a pair. Ace comes still betting. Queen three is take that down. And no,
Yeah.
nothing really major going on here. A few hands kind of trading chips back and forth. Still 4.4 chip lead. And Casper the shortest with 2.2.
I was gonna say these days, if I don't get like 8 or 9 hours of beauty rest, like I'm all, cranky the next day. It's very different.
Yeah. Yeah. Sleep's important. Sleep is definitely important. I'm still trying to figure, they say it's really important to get, actually the REM and get to sleep at like 9 or 10 or 8, like earlier the better, and wake up sort of sunrise, sunset. And that there's like a circadian rhythm to that. Obviously with poker, it's a bit hard to be I'm a night owl myself. I've always kind of go to bed pretty late, so it's harder for me. But I do get it, right. Getting up at like 6 a.m. or something that seems like that would be ideal. I just don't have
Mhm.
that. Never had that gear in me yet. The kids though, I have two kids, so sometimes I get up early, but it's not by choice. You said you get up around, you said this isn't because in Vegas it's 10:30, 10:15 start. We 9:30 we did or no, 10:30 was the test. What's your typical routine? Like what's your normal wake up and get going if you're not up in a late night poker game?
Ideally, I would be in bed by midnight and get up around 8 or 9. It just depends on, cash games. Sometimes I'll be in the game and I wouldn't be able to leave till like 7 or 8 in the morning. And that, of course, like messes everything up. And I don't like doing it, but, it just happens. If that's the best game in town, then I'll do it. And, like it's lucrative. It's good for my bottom line, so it is worth it.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's yeah, that when the sunrise comes up and still playing, that's tough. It's always it's fun, but then it's the next day. It does hurt as we see ace seven and ace queen. This is going to be interesting for Jan's ace queen against the player who definitely could be bluffing. I think it's enough hand, right? You got the four for a straight. You also have the overs that could just be good. You don't have a heart. Your opponent's betting, and ace queen still a decent hand as he does call, and now ace seven high, no good, and sort of a weird no man's land, right? Ace seven could be good. There are flush draws that missed or some hearts, but you have that key seven in the hand. You're in the blind. Going to go ahead and he just decides has enough showdown value, and I think Jans will be happy to check here and just kind of have happen what happens, where he's just going to be good enough of the time.
Well played out by both parties, I think.
Yeah, question if that would be should bet that river, but I guess again ace high and against the hands he could have some king highs or flush draws that are good, so he decided not to bet as Chris gonna open and the sixes in the small blind. Okay, turns it up. Ace nine off just quite not super fun, right? Ace 10 suited or it's close. Ace nine off peeling doesn't really make it feel like it would be a good call. So he's maybe thinking, do I just give this up or is there a world where he clicks it? We haven't seen a ton of that pre-flop wars. Does go for the 945, so he does click it back. And this is like one of those why sixes isn't really a three betting hand because of this reason. So now you get four bet. You actually had the best hand. You maybe could call pre-flop, but that's usually not out of position, it's close. And now what do you do though? That's the thing. Like, so were you bluffing? Are you not bluffing? What are you going to do with your sixes now? Because calling, all of a sudden you
Yes.
have a million in with sixes out of position. Oh my goodness,
Oh,
this is
wow.
okay. And that's got to be enough, right? I mean, Chris isn't really just going to say, yeah, like let's just ride it in with ace nine off on a whim. I think this is going to be enough, and that's a heck of a re-raise there with sixes.
I love this hand so much. If
Yeah,
you're going to be three betting light from the situation, you got to be able to five bet light as well.
I agree. I think that would have been that he answered the rhetorical question. It wasn't really rhetorical. I did want an answer, and he gave us one. He put it out. He said, "Hey, I'm raising because if I get re-raised, I'm going to re-raise. Not that if I get re-raised, I don't know what to do, or I'm going to call and then make a mess of the hand. I'm just going to take the initiative and be the aggressor." And now Chris finds himself as one of the short stacks. Actually, 4 of 5, started 1 of 9, eights and ace 7 suited. So pretty big hands here, blind on blind, and what's that? 30 bigs. He could find a way to get this in pre-flop. Hmm.
Damn, your guy just took a big chunk out of my guy.
Yeah, this is.
Oof.
Oh, no, that is quite a flop. The 7-7-3, 2 8s. That's nasty. Against A7, you're such a good spot too, right? Just make that the 7-3-3 or 7 high, and you got yourself a really good chance to double. And as it turns out, he's going to get a really, really bad flop. And actually saying to check sometimes and bet small almost always. Okay, eights is saying do not raise. That makes sense. Just call. So he needs an 8 of hearts or 8 of diamonds. There's a 10 of clubs. Actually, does bring him hope. As the backdoor flush draw working, a club would be good as long as it's not the ace of clubs. Right? Is there anything else? Yeah, he would make a boat, but the eight, that's 100% bet small. Maybe 150 or 200, saying you should bet again.
You want to get value from your hand right now, and you want to charge all the loose, naked clubs out there who might be drawing.
Yep, and went for a bigger one though. And this is tough, right? This is where Casper's thinking, okay, this is a problem. If I call, I don't know if I want a club or I don't want a club, and that's sort of where he's getting put into the situation. Although he may think he's good now and he's avoiding a club on the river, I think that's like probably what his most likely thought process is. Maybe that's a hand like, ace jack or queen king with a club, something like this as a bluff if he is bluffing. And if he's not bluffing, then you're in trouble because now you're drawing. There is some version where your club isn't good or you're already not good like this.
Definitely a very tricky spot, but our hand's just too good to be folding here, unfortunately.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow, gonna get called. I mean, he just wasn't buying that he would play a flush like this. About a 3-1 favorite. Jan's gonna avoid a club or an eight, and the river is clean, and that is bad news for the rest of the table. Although we will see a knockout, so there's a pay jump. There's that good game. Casper gonna go in a little bit of an interesting hand. Puts Jans into the chip lead, trying to deny a new champion on GGMillion, going for his fourth title there, 7 million, and he has got himself a very good position all of a sudden. Wow. Yeah, it was a bit unconventional too. Man, what a. All right, moving quick down to 4. I mean, I'm gonna wait a little bit for the giveaway just because we still have this. These are pretty deep, but we are gonna queue that up. You guys can go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you're enjoying the show, and that will be the first half part of the giveaway. 200 so far out of 1,800. I want to say hello to everyone. Let us know where you're watching for. I'm gonna get that up shortly, and the tweet is out. twos and ace seven. Ace seven got a winner. If can get to showdown and does improve to two pair. Gonna bet and twos. Thinking. Folding. All right, yeah, Jan's definitely the favorite now. But there's Chris started chip leader, still plenty of chips, and Pepsi's chipped up nicely. Honestly, some of the even a little outer line play. I just feel like everyone's played pretty well though, in the most part. I mean, there's been some unconventional stuff, but there's been some sort of unconventional that's turned into what looks like actually thoughtful, aggressive, not just sort of clicking buttons and at first that might have looked like the case, but I don't think that is. I think actually everyone here is playing really well, from what I can tell.
I agree. For sure. You can definitely see the logic behind every single decision we've seen so far. Were you gonna pick Jans if I didn't review my hand too soon and say that he was gonna be my second draft pick?
No, actually, I was gonna pick. I like going for. I think in these final tables, a lot of the experience. Generally, people I look at who have won before, and I give a lot of validity to that. So I actually I was gonna pick. So you didn't mess
All
that up,
right.
but it's not over. It's not over
I
yet
know.
at all. It's not
No.
over. Wait, so is this, hold on, we have all four? Is that right? Is Dafa, you have,
Mhm.
it's 2 and 2, right?
Yep.
Oh wow, that's interesting. And we didn't even take the top, all the top stacks. So it's a fair fight right now. I think I mean, defining, to be fair though, defining has gotten aces like 3 times and twice against big hands. So I'm not sure how dangerous they are or not, but they've gotten some good situations today. At least
Better
it's
to
been
be
going.
lucky than good.
Listen, I completely agree. But not saying it's not good. Just we haven't gotten to see a ton of. We've just seen him with some big hands. Basically, that's what we've gotten to see. It's not his fault. He's just gotten nice
Yeah, for
hand
sure.
as Jack six. Wow, look at this spot. I mean, this is bad news for Chris. Very bad news. I don't know how. I don't think you can fold here. Can you ace eight? I mean, he turned the random jack. The draws miss. You're blind on blinds. Like you have ace eight. I guess having the eight's not great, right? For the 8-9, like kind of bluffs some of the 8x bluffs, like maybe, but still, it's like some point you can't just let people run you over. He goes pot though, went for pot on the river.
Yeah, definitely a tough spot. Usually having top pair and in this iteration is going to be good most of the time. But there was no front door flush draw. There's a lot of two pair combos that you don't block.
Yep. Big moment here. And Chris, again, can't blame if calls. I think if I'm in his shoes, I think I'd have a hard time folding myself. But the Jack six off comes in a big way. And either way, whether he gets called or not, going to be at 7-5 or 8-5. If he does get this done, he gets the call. Yeah, this is 8.5 mil. I mean, starting to separate himself. Kind of has almost half the chips in play, right? Between the 2 and 3 does, and then there's a million. So basically half the chips right now for Jans. All right, I will queue up. I'm gonna queue up a giveaway. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna shove Jack 10. Is that 20 bigs? No, 1 point, almost 19 bigs. Okay. Yep, going to work. 8.7 million. Two sevens for Pepsi into two eights, and this could actually be a pretty quick double for Chris. We've seen pretty pure hands too. Like with the all ins, they've been sort of holding aces to tens. We saw a couple other ones, nothing too crazy, eights to sevens. Let's see if we're going to see pure T or if we will see a get there coming. We know it says always coming seven. That's been talked about before. If it needs a 6-2, 6-7, or we will see a double and continue. And there it is. They say it. I've heard it. I've seen this stuff. I've seen these clips. People talk about it all the time. Seven coming on the river, nonetheless. Going to put us on the podium already. 3 left. Everyone guaranteed 200,000, and we got to catch up on the giveaways. I haven't even put the wording out, and I'm like in my head, we're three-handed. This is going fast right now, and you are down to Dafanyu versus my two. And all right, let's do this. Let's get it going. Xuan, you might.
Can't believe that happened. Oh
That
my God.
was
That
that
was my
was sick.
chance.
That was
GG,
very sick.
Chris.
GG. Gonna settle for 4-star the day chip leader. All right, $50 giveaway. I'm doing it right now. Is
There might be
GGW.
some fireworks this hand too. Pepsi has 2 pair, and Jans is probably going to keep betting with his turned straight draw here.
Hold on. Yeah.
Pepsi's hand's definitely good enough for a check raise here.
All right, first keyword, $50 ticket giveaway is GGWSOP space Xuan, Xuan, and then insert your GGPoker username. That will be our first giveaway for 50. There's 3 of those, and then the Twitter 50 going, and we are seeing a possible big pot. Yeah, maybe 9-10 high. He's got like the worst, one of the worst hands you can have, 10 high. Probably gonna
He gets,
bluff, right? Let's go for a big
yeah.
bluff. Pretty easy, just check call. I mean, you got the trips, but I'm sorry, boat. Never mind. Gonna raise king 5, has a huge hand. I was saying not folding, but just calling. Okay, a
Oh,
little surprised to just
wow.
call, but either way,
Very
didn't lose more chips
conservative.
there. But yes, I think that is it says bring it 7.5, 7.2. And Jan's gonna tell him, hey man, you gotta he's nicely, gently, or not so nicely giving the Greg goes all in. What's that about? But worked out. Nice hand. Chip lead over to Pepsi Fanta.
Definitely a very conservative call there. You know, especially when you take that seemingly passive line to seemingly check your set yourself up for the check raise. I'm quite surprised there that he did not.
Hey, 2-3, 9-7, three-handed giveaway underway. 1 of 3. Gonna get that selected, and I mean, I don't even know. I'm trying to do the math. What time it is where I am? It's 1:15. What time is what are we? An hour and 20 minutes in the show, I think. Is it
An hour. Oh,
started at
2 hours.
50? Yeah, I think 1 hour 20 minutes. If I'm not mistaken. Is it 2 hour 20? No. 1
It,
hour 20, I believe. What time is it right now in Vegas?
1:13 p.m. We started at 11.
Oh no, it's 2 hours. Are we 2 hours in? Oh, but it's 50 because there's a 30-minute pregame. Right. So it's like an
Hmm.
hour and 25 minutes in. Yeah, I believe so. All right. Yeah, very quick thus far. We could see a long heads up, but we also could see a. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen a double knockout? Like, I know I remember one year at the Venetian, the main, there was like a double knockout for a huge tournament. I've never seen it here for a double knockout. And put the 2-3, turn it into a bluff. 8.5 million, and Pepsi is cruising right now. And he's feeling it. He's going against Jan's, trying to get his first title. Jan's trying to get his fourth, put him in a unique category. Not many players have 4 titles.
Yeah, it seems like it's a seasoned pro against the 2 unknown Rex. Love this plot line.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say That's about right. That is about right. GTO Wizard has popped up. It's saying check, got the heart. King high is not good, but King Jack with the heart. Jack high flush draw saying you got to check this. See if Pepsi agrees. Jan's now on a check or a bet. Some bet protection does have a 6 on the 9963, and I think that does make sense to bet. Checking also reasonable, but by betting, okay, so he's gonna check, and now this says check. King high enough showdown 99633. And I would imagine that there is a bet coming. A bet large is interesting. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that, but I would definitely think to bet. So it is saying to go ahead and bet big, polarize here. Like, see, this to me out of like this just is very interesting, right? Like this is if you're looking at home and you're like, okay, I see why I bet here because I'm getting value at ace high, but there's flushes out there. You just have a pair, and it says large bet, which is interesting to start thinking why if you're going to bet large, and what are you targeting and why. And this is actually saying, yeah, mostly should fold, but sometimes to call with the king high, and no option to raise, right? They don't even put that on the table with this hand, I guess, because the king high for showdown. And yeah, you wouldn't be bluffing a flush, right? If you happen to have a flush, you wouldn't be raising here. So for all those reasons, again, Jan's got it pretty spot on, as you would expect, and did end up winning the hand. And now we are still three-handed, and I think we'll have the first winner here. Get that selected. Okay. All right. Well, 5 deuce and queen 4. 5 deuce does have the bottom pair. Queen 4, not much going here. Just doesn't. Yeah, you got to have some sort of slowdown, give ups. No real semi bluff, and doesn't want to shoot more money in there. As the final also not very comfortable with the deuce on the jack 7 deuce monotone. Trying to think if he wants to bet, try to take control, or just check. Runs the risk of getting bluffed or a bad card coming on the river. Doesn't bet anything here though. Assuming even ahead, which he's not sure. Let's check 10 pairs. So that's not a bad card for the 5 deuce. If you're winning, you're still winning. And Jan's as played. I don't know if he'll try to take a stab. If does, maybe go big. But no, check. Okay. Yeah. Pepsi Fanta started second, is currently in first. Been playing well. And I think the odds are, I'd say it's pretty even money, right? With this stack with Jans and Pepsi, it's close, playing well. Maybe Jan's still the favorite, or close to it. 70K big blind. It's a lot of play. A lot of
Oh
play.
yeah.
It's 7. I mean 8. What we're talking 9. Yeah, 9. It's a lot of big blinds for 6.6 million at the 70K big blind. It's over 90 big blinds, right? It's over 100 bigs for
Yep.
Pepsi, and for
I think
Jans, he's got 95.
I think if Pepsi takes it down, all these guys are gonna have nightmares about him, all the somewhat unconventional things. Maybe especially Chris. He got check raised with the 7-4 versus Chris's queens. That was versus Chris, right? No,
Vuston,
that
right?
was versus European actually.
Yeah.
Um, and then the ace-9 versus the sixes versus Pepsi. Just really cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah, that set the tone for the final table. Got us off to a quick start, couple knockouts. I mean, again, I don't think we've ever been three-handed even at this juncture, but still a lot of poker left, and they're deep. All right, King Jack misses the hearts. 6-4 has a winner. King Jack debating what to do. Does have a relevant card with the Jack. Not great to have the hearts that miss, and thinking, wheels spinning, what to bet or not.
Definitely a very tricky spot. There's a one-liner now. Like your opponent could definitely have that 8, and your king high is probably not going to be good very often here, but you probably, it's yeah, very tricky to bluff. And what sides would you even go for?
2 pair just says that's enough. Maybe the 6x, 4x will be shedding it, but he does decide to call, and he's liking it. He is really liking it. Ace 10 suited, he won't like this so much. Ace 10 suited to ace queen could get himself in some big trouble here, as it is a lot of hand, three-handed. Gonna raise. And the one in the 2 stack here, I mean, it's too much hand to not re-raise. I would imagine he's going to make it 560 or something. He does shoot up, and Pepsi with a suited ace 10, 40% of a royal, not folding.
Definitely not folding. And based on some of the pre-flop battling, I wonder if he'll choose to do anything else here. Okay.
Well, that's a lot of interaction in the board. Ace, queen, ace 10, both players missing a pair. And GTO Wizard is telling you to check. Let's see if Jans does that or not. He does have the ace of heart and a queen, which it kind of interacts well there. I don't know if he'll check this.
Yeah,
I'm
this is
surprised it's
probably
100% check. I just would think that maybe there's some reason to bet sometime, like to get some under pair, like low pairs to fold, or you actually don't want to get check raised. It makes sense. I mean, I would assume check, but I think there'd be some mix of a small bet. And here actually is mixing a small bet now, and ace queen is saying to bet small, so now it's saying about only 10% of the time, 9%. But as if it says bet large, okay.
Yeah, I would have assumed it was bet large or check on the flop there in Yen's situation. After isolating pre. But I guess maybe even at this depth, you don't want to be betting and playing a bloated pot with a kind of a vulnerable hand where you can be blown off your equity.
Wow, he
You
called
definitely
that.
want to see
It's at
more
100%
cards.
fold, and he called. And now it's saying to check. And I don't know if Pepsi took a shot there. That was a big call on the turn with ace 10 suited. Big call there. And Jan's digging at 8 million chip leader. Ooh, ace suited for ace 9 and queens. And want to remind everyone in the giveaway, you don't have to bet. I'm sorry, say so. You don't have to say so many times the giveaway. You can do it once, twice for good luck. Go ahead and choose the first winner. That is Shapur Pahalavi. Congrats, $50. What's happening here? I got my screen up. So wow, yeah, queens and ace 4 suited. This is looking like a big pot. Nut flush over to the board versus an overpair.
Yeah, we had an open flat 3-bet flat. Wonder if Dafanio just chooses to raise here and get it in, or if he's gonna slow play this. It's definitely a little more vulnerable without the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it's important. Big pot. Don't see Pepsi Fanta folding, not betting to fold there, so this will go in, and has what, 12 outs with 2 to come, pretty close to a coin flip. 50, almost 54% favored. Pairs of 4, needs an ace 4 or a heart, and not going to be the case. So a big double there. for your player, you were almost just it was almost over. It's now very much alive. 7 mil, big pot
That's
there. We would
right.
have been heads up with 11 to 7 mil. Now it's back to 774, and all kinds of things are happening. 255 if hit thumbs up. Appreciate you. About 2,000 watching. Can let us know where you're watching from. We got 2 more giveaways coming. Gonna need to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button if you want to be eligible. We'll get the keywords for you once we get to. Actually, I'll do another one shortly because we're actually behind one. We're already 3-handed. Usually do it when we're heads up to the last one. So we'll get a second giveaway shortly. But that definitely is going to slow things down. So the blinds are up in 4 hands. We're still only at 70K big blinds. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're an
still very
hour
deep.
and a half, an hour and 35 minutes into the actual playing because we did the pregame, which I was just talking without playing. So yeah, still early. Still early on, but 3-handed.
Pepsi Fanta is not one to slow down, even when there's a bad card.
Wow.
We
So yeah,
just
I mean it's literally wide open. Like I think that was yeah, that would have been really interesting. That would have been a heads up match already. Super, super early. Now it's wide open. Pepsi Fanta is not afraid though. He is definitely could get back in this. He's got like what's he have? He still has plenty of chips.
Mhm. Okay, now we see Pepsi's incorporating a limp range, it seems like, from the button for the first time this match.
Yeah, I mean King Jack Jack 6. So Jack 6 suited just going to completely whiff here, but I think it shows you so often how hard it is to make a pair. It really is. Like that's why in Hold'em in particular, there's so much bluffing, there's so much creativity, there's so much sizing, right? There's so many different ways you can sort of articulate or orchestrate, I should say, a pot, like how you want to go construct a bluff, overbet pots. Like there's so much creativity. Whereas in PLO, like it's a great and popular game. There's a lot of times you have equity and, you can only bet the pot. Whereas in Hold'em, it's like you can really get uh, you can have a big skill advantage and you can really, really do some cool stuff in Hold'em. I think we're seeing that. It's one of the things GTO Wizard sort of tells us, right, with the, uh, it gives you these creative sizings. Like there's times where I'm on here watching and I'm literally like, oh, I wouldn't even consider this size, but this is like the only suggested sizing is big. So it's just awesome to see. And I think this has been a well received plugin from everybody where they see this and they kind of makes them think differently about the game. I think that's like a really, really cool thing that's been happening here. And we do see a handful of those each show. The GTO Wizard. I like both. The GTO Wizard with the mystery hand is a nice combo. We got to see one of those earlier today, and there's it. Look at not just aces, Xuan. There's a nice pickup there, showing us some range. He actually, I think, had the best hand anyway, but it is still nice to see some sort of semi bluffing and picks it up.
Yeah, I really like the extra tools and bells and whistles. I think it makes it a lot more interesting and entertaining to watch as an audience member. I think PLO is like navigating hands where like most of the time your opponent's going to have something, and no limits. Hold'em is more like navigating hands where like most of the time you and your opponent don't have anything. Another hand where neither has much, but one has ace high and one has king high, and they're both trying to figure out, with um, where they are in terms of showdown value and whether they need to bluff this hand, but I assume it's just gonna go check check.
Yeah, I think I think this is this is a little too close to call. It would be cool, like, now they have in-game betting for sports, right? Like how they do that, where it's the odds change. It would be kind of cool to see. I think that's where we're going, right? At some point, there's going to be this like take a break, and there'll be a redistribute you can bet on or see where it's at. Because it would be kind of fun to see what the actual pricing is, what GG, how they move it based on what people bet. But like right now, I mean, you'd have to think Jans is a pretty significant favorite, right? With the 8 million versus Defon you and Pepsi, who aren't as experienced. He's got to be like, what would you predict out of 10 times? How much do you think he wins? It's probably
Probably
like,
5 or 6, at least 5. I would go
yeah,
with 6. I mean,
yeah,
he's
probably.
just so much more experienced than the other two guys. Not to say the other guys aren't playing well and aren't, going to take him for a run for his money, but there's so much playability left, and I think his skill edge is really going to shine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We'll see. I mean, it is poker though. I always say it's like a box of chocolates. You just don't know. You don't know how it's gonna go. It's the same as just like every time it's different. You could say even we see the comebacks when you're 4-1 versus Divorce and you come back and win. If you were to price that, right? Like the guys obviously like, with even a close match, it's just fun because it's like no guarantees. It's just the cards, there's some luck, there's skill, and just on any given day, anyone can do anything special. And I know these players want their first title, so yeah, it's exciting. I think Jans. I was looking at the start, like the all-time list for four. And there's not many players that have won 4 titles in this format, and this is, I think, uh, the most prestigious um, online. But I think I'm trying to think if I think it was 12, right? Arts are 12 and maybe 8. There's no one with more than that. And this is it's so hard to win. I look at the stats sometimes and I'll see like 100 tournaments, even like Ben CB, who won recently again and maybe his second, but it was like there's guys that played this 120 times. They're like great players and they have, no titles or one title or 20 final tables, and it's taken them to win one. So it's like it's just such a relief when you get a major event and a title off your back, or a bracelet or Triton event or WPT. It's just like, it's hard. It's like winning a super. You look at great players in the NBA or NFL. It's like there's great players that never won. They get second or they had 4 finals, and it's like you don't know when you're gonna get there. So
Absolutely.
yeah. It is few and far between trophies. I say they should award this. I've been making a suggestion as we get a mystery hand here that there should be trophies for this online. Like I know Patrick Leonard's talked about this for certain events or certain. I know like there's W Coops and there's GG does series, or there's rings for online or bracelets. But I do think like you remember Full Tilt. You used to play Full Tilt and you get those shirts, right? You get all the bounty shirts. But like instead of spending money on bounties, like what if once a year for the site you play on, they just ship you some trophies? Like, I'm not saying every day they need to ship the trophy, but like, I think they should tally it. The end of the year, you have whichever events qualify, and then you get a shipment like some point within a few months, right? So it's like they do like only a couple times a year they make them, but they're not like every day having to ship out and do stuff. That would be, I think that would be, because who doesn't love a trophy? It's nice to have a trophy, even if it's like if it's for online. I think that's safe to say. We got a mystery hand though, King 3, and this is 1.8 in the mil, 1.8 mil with King 3, a weak top pair, and GTO Wizard. It's interesting on a mystery hand though that they're recommending what to do for the player that has we can't see. So it kind of gives you a little hint on what they might have as a call. Same call, and this is gonna move chips around here. This is a big pot, 2.8 million. Saying must check.
But we know his hand is good enough to continue, and there's also some post-flop ICM implications because Pepsi's Fanta is shorter than them both. So, any pair here is going to be good for a call. A lot of different draws, even some ace highs.
Okay. Ooh, bet large. Wow. Okay, so what does that mean? Bet large with a diamond river, and we know he has top pair.
So
I
at this
mean,
point, he has all the best hands, of course, which is why GTO Wizard wants him to bet large. He could
yeah.
also have a naked, ace of diamond, maybe some Jack X hands as well. Would be good bluff candidates. Oh,
Saying call 20% of the time. Goes for the pot. I mean, yeah, I guess is it just saying he's got the flush, like got Jack 8 of diamonds or something? Or Jack 9. Well, that would be a straight flush. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like value, right? Unless it is like the ace, specifically a diamond with ace Jack, even with, so that's a straight. Yeah, maybe ace Jack with the diamond, or Jack of diamonds with ace. He doesn't like it. King 3. Wow. Ooh, a big bet. I think man, that's a huge bet. That's a big ask with the king, just a 3 kicker. I mean, just a pure bluff catcher. I think folding. That's why it says 80% of the time for that size and this holding.
definitely very tricky, especially if you don't have a diamond in your hand here. Mm. And if you call and you're wrong immediately, you're basically tied with last place. If you fold, you used to have a very decent stack and a lot of playability. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Ace Jack with the diamond. There we go. That was it. Pretty sick. It was Ace Jack off, right? Ace of diamond.
Yep.
Sick. Sick hand. Sick hand. And I mean, I guess you can't blame him, but it did feel like it's a pretty big hero because it's like your kicker, you're literally beating just a stone bluff.
Yeah. It's really tough to fold top pair three-handed though. Definitely have
Ace
another
of
situation here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pepsi gonna wake up, and Jan's now all right. Just calls, but he is in complete control. He has double the two players combined. I gotta get the other giveaway going here. As a nice spot for Pepsi and Ace 4 drawing to the no diamond low end here. And now the diamond comes. So Ace 4 now he's slipped it over to Jan. See if he wants to get aggressive now. He's double gutted. 3 or 7, but there is already the flush out there.
Super interesting insta check too by Pepsi. Usually that indicates, you're not thinking much at all, but perhaps he balances it with the time, hoping to induce from Jens.
And River 9. So I mean, all of a sudden, okay, doesn't he says he saw he could have got aggressive pre, but this is the most fun spot in poker. You have 12 mil versus 3 and 3. You get to put a lot of pressure because of the pay jump. You can see in the lower left of your screen what the difference is. So a lot of money. If you're these two players, you're hoping not to be the one to have to put the chips in unless you have the goods. And Jan's, I think, I mean, that number is a lot higher now. Out of 10 times he's going to win it, it might be like 8 or 9 even. I mean, he'd have to double up a player. He'd still have 9, and then he'd still be in control. So yeah, I'd say it's probably like maybe I'm off here, but I would think like 8.5, 8 or 8.5 in this particular
Yeah.
exact distribution.
It's hard to go too much higher than that against two other players, but yeah, his chances are very high.
All right, second giveaway, $50, 2 or 3, keyword WSOP GG Vegas is the keyword. So WSOP GG Vegas, that is your keyword. Good luck. Only need to put it once, twice for good luck. 3 times if you want, but don't spam. And we will have our second winner. And then we should have a heads up. Who do you think would be a better match, Xuan? Who's going to play better against Jans out of these two guys?
Oh boy. I think Pepsi's been trying. He's tends to be quite creative, but I've also seen him like become more passive in certain situations and maybe not maximize getting the full value of his hands. Um, it's so hard to say. I'm still rooting for Dafano. Just, he's a lucky ox, and that's what I aspire to be as well. I like it. I like my wager even better now. I don't think Pepsi is going to be able to fold here with his gut shot. But, Dafano has also been rather passive. So I think he's going to get a lot of credit with this check raise. Just about as good of a card as Dafano could hope for on this turn, actually.
Yeah. 10-8 does have stuff working here. Has the open ender with a better flush draw. Pepsi with a spade, gut shot, and a ace high actually in the lead. Tough though, right? You don't want to be peeling to hit a 3 high flush draw. He does actually do it. He's got the best hand. This will be interesting. Now we're going to see if Defani's going to follow through or not.
Yeah, and this is a really bad river for him to consider bluffing again after he gets called twice already.
Yeah, board pairs. I mean, can he find a shell here? Goes for, wow.
Love it.
Dafanu. Dafanu. What a legend. What an absolute great play. Just found it. Win for it. And Pepsi's not snap folding.
I'd be very impressed if he could make this call as well. I think having the ace of spades would be a different story because then you could, right now he's not omitting that from his opponent's range and considering maybe he just has the best hand here. Well played.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Really exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. I got to say, this has been an epic final table. Going to see if Jans can get the fourth, or we're going to see a battle. But I can tell you what, the longer these guys don't chip up and he's just able to stay there, I think someone's going to take a stand, or he's just going to whittle everyone down. He's going to whittle everybody down to the brink here. So let's see. Let's see if he can just do it. Honestly, on the GG Millions, it's so rare to see a textbook like where you just get them super, super short and you get people down. I mean, this is almost like the most I've seen, this big a lead, and then the second and third are even. It's something you just don't see often where players get a chance to do that. So let's see if he can actually make that happen. But Defanu now at 4 million actually, so he still has plenty of chips. I mean, it's not like he's short stacked.
That was another spot where we saw that Pepsi perhaps didn't quite go for max value there on such a dry texture with, a pair. Like, I think you need to be value betting that on the river at least. And Jan's, his queen high might be good enough for showdown, but I'd assume he would be less inclined to value bet Pepsi light, especially seeing Pepsi check a lot out of position with some very, very strong holdings.
King Jack, Queen, King Jack, Queen Jack. So gut shot, and each with the diamond. Another good spot for Jans could get some extraction here. I mean, this is one where Queen Jack has got too much hand to get away right away, and there are some cards that could get not great for him, but that is one. Makes the Queen with a gut shot now, so he actually improves, and this is definitely. That was one of the literal worst cards for him, right? Hits the Queen, he still has the gut shot, and he is dominated. So let's see. This is likely. I mean, I think he's going to feel pretty confident to bet here. He's got a good kicker on the king. He's blocking Jack 10 and has a strong hand. I think he's going to go pretty big. He does. I mean, you can't fold here, right? That's a big bet, though. Big bet.
Oh, wow. Good fold. I couldn't have done it, but very disciplined. I assume he's also considering the IC pressure,
Yep.
since Pepsi does have fewer chips in him.
Yep, that's a good. Yeah, no, it's important. I mean, look at the jump though. It's a lot. You're talking buy-ins, 10K buy-in. What do we like 66 buy-ins there for second and third, and then first again, no deal making. Going to be big difference between first and second. So they are shaking out to be a heads up with Defanu, but right now, Jack 6 has. Oh, look at this nasty spot.
Yeah. Jans is wondering how much value he can extract here for sure, especially since there's a front door flush draw that missed. Oh, he's going for all of it. I'm not sure if Pepsi can get away from this after kind of under-repping his hand a little bit. Really tough spot for sure.
Yeah,
Ooh.
wow. I mean, that is a crazy fold there with ICM too and Jan's ability. Like I'm going broke there. I'm sorry. I'm not folding the king in that spot with Jan's leveraging the pay jump there. I mean, that's honestly call it almost a. It's so good in fold. It's almost bad. Right? It's like exploitatively probably not right, but in the moment like genius. So we get a little taste of both there from Pepsi. But some great plays, great decisions going on today. I gotta say.
Totally. These two short stacks are battling hard.
Ace 7, King 6. All right, Ace 7 pretty strong, but again, a 4-liner. Never easy, even when you make good hands and hold them. That's why it's fun. There's still a lot going on, a lot of other hands that could beat you. Do you value spots like this? Do you not? Are you scared to get check raised? Is it just you like that you have that lead? If you win this pot, you're still 2-1. So all things to consider. And 55 seconds on the chess clock, so we may actually see some time bank 0 going on here. Jan's kind of low too, but nice bet. Does go for a bet. A little scary, but I think it's too good to not bet. It's going to be some other 2 pairs or 1 pair hands, and you know, Jan's even with the 6 looks like is considering gonna fold though.
Yeah, I like the value bet a lot. When you're considering reopening the action, you have to balance the idea of like whether your opponent would have actually taken the line that they did if they were trying to set you up for a trap on the river. And given how passively the hand was played on other streets, I just wouldn't assume that Jens had an 8-8 there. So 2 pair definitely good enough to value bet.
Tens. What a spot. 3-handed. You see a limp. I like that Pepsi's going for a limp though in this situation, understanding that the dynamic is different. Doesn't want to be min raising, getting put on kind of a weird spot by Jans and sort of realizing the gravity of everything. So I like this, and I think he's going to realize too, defining going to be a lot less incentivized to be light there. Shout out to my man Ben in the UK. We got an international crowd. That's what I love. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. Xuan Lu, first time guest on the stream. Xuan, we might have to make you gonna have to get you in here more often. It's been fun. You've brought some very exciting play today, some energy. I think there could be a little even showing off over there. I know you won the Triton, and people are. There's been some weird hands. I'll say it's not normal stuff to start the show. We saw some kind of creative things, and everyone seems to play very well though. I thought we were actually gonna see some like really crazy stuff, but then as I've looked more today, I've been like, all right, actually people seem to be playing high level, like different but high level. It's definitely been a very entertaining stream. We gotta pick the second winner. This is all right. Where are we at on time? So all of a sudden, okay, I think we're 2 hours in now, and so that's kind of what we expected. There would be a slowdown at some point. See if Jans can stick the screws in here and finish it off, or if we see some doubles and make a meal out of it. 40-80K. I think we've played like 300K level here before, and 125, 250 and stuff. Where we're a long ways away from that. It won't be the shortest stream ever, but it's definitely been shorter. I want to say like an hour and a half, I think was the shortest, right around that. Here we go, 2 9s, nice hands, reverse the button open.
Yeah, definitely still a lot of playability from both of the short stacks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it is so interesting to me on the comebacks. I would love to know like the biggest comebacks too. I've seen some miraculous things. Obviously, Xuan, we've been in poker a long time. There's been big comebacks, and we've seen those stories of the obviously chip in a chair type deals where it's just never over till it's over. It's so emotional when you're playing for a big one, where for a title or for a trophy, like you just know that it's not every day. It could be years or two or never to get like some of these opportunities. So it's just like when you're there and you can close it out and you're all in, and you just know you're just rooting so hard, right? You just know like that moment, that feeling of one more card or one more flip to win, and it's never easy. It just even right now, Jan's like he's done this before. He's already won this 3 times. times, but he even knows that it's like, you know, that things happen, stuff changes quickly, and it's not easy. It's not easy to win.
Absolutely. You can't let down your guard. You still have to, have your eyes on the prize and respect your opponents for sure.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah, not just again, these players not as experienced, just based off of the obvious numbers, but playing well and also seem to have made some great decisions shorthanded. And again, I think you or I could easily been on the rail by now in a few of these spots with Jans, where I think the king I would not have folded. I can't imagine folding that king nine hand against the jack six. But well done, Pepsi, kind of on a free roll at the moment here, as Jans will chip up more, getting to 13 million. So it's 13 million to 5 combined. And Tefanu trying to wait out Pepsi to get heads up, still would have 40 blinds. Again, that's like the one thing where we keep it's three-handed and it could be heads up soon, but even 40 blinds heads up is a ton. Like there's so many times they're heads up with 15 or 20, or the short stack has 8, 10 blinds. Like here, 40 blinds, like that is a ton of play.
Definitely an interesting defend with this 4 deuce offsuit. Quite low on the range.
Ace queen ace 8. This looks like needs help. Send help. Pepsi Fanta is in and gonna have a problem. This is gonna be a pretty confident limp jam to the raise here, and I think obviously that'll be snapped off. Can't imagine he's ever calling. This is he knows he's high up in the range. This is a cooler, and this is gonna need to get some help, as we see that the limp re-raise jam and 3.2 million needs some spades or an 8, as the queen is dominating ahead and no chop out. So this is it. 3 outs, 1 to come, 7% just about, and no, it's slow. It was a 3. That's going to be GG. So we got the heads up we wanted. We each have a player. You got a bit of work to do, but this seems almost reminiscent of the Triton. What's it about the same, starting with the where you 4-1 dog versus Daniel Negreanu for that money, and here we go. It's about 4-1, right? 4-16 to 15-4. So almost deja vu. Obviously, you'd rather prefer to win that one than this, but good luck to you. And 30 seconds on the chess clock. I think I'll put the second winner on. It is, let's do that. The second $50 winner. There it is. It's at Xuan, if I said that right. And there you go. So we are down to the last one. I'm going to put a giveaway up for that, as I don't want to. I'm on my laptop. I have to pull it up and do the thing here, and this could be over in a second. Still 35 blinds though, 5-8. Defanu, just see if he can keep it going. Run out of chips, run out of time, but not over yet. Jan's looking to close on that 4th title and is going to go ahead and just stay aggressive on the limp. Staying aggressive, as we see.
And good game, Pepsi Fanta. Would love to watch them make more final tables in the future. Really entertaining player.
Yeah, played great, and a new player we saw here. So I'm doing the giveaway. It is GGWSOP. Let's go with bracelets. See who's going to win a bracelet out there, and we will put also on Twitter. Still not too late. You can retweet on my Jeff Gross Poker. And that will be for 50. And also Twitter is there, available for retweet, guess the winner. At this point, run out of time to guess the winner. It's getting to that point, but we will pick that for 50 cash. And I got to say, Defanu, if anyone can do it, I think he's got a chance to make some strong moves and give a run for the money, as we see a 5-high semi-bluff here. Gonna be betting, and can't blame the fold, as we are down again to 2. Started out with the final table, and we will see ourselves a champion here, 50, 100K. But again, it could be a bit. Definitely could be a bit. 40 bigs deep, roughly, for the short stack, and seems to know how to play. What generally, what are you start limping if you're short against the player, whether you're the big stack or short, when you start trying to not be min raising and heads up?
Yeah, I mean, there's an ante, so like you're gonna want to play basically every hand in this iteration, and there's gonna be like a lot of limps, like almost everything as well. You do want to balance it with some hands that are good and some hands that are more polar as well. Um, and if I were Dafano, like I would be looking to ramp up the variance, against a more experienced and better player for sure, and try to get him into uncomfortable situations. He is running out of his time bank, though. I guess you don't get any additional time once you get heads up.
So I'm saying we're gonna see potentially that does is another disadvantage, right? So he's out chipped. I don't want to say outclassed because that seems like we don't know anything about actually defining his game, but just out experienced for sure, out chipped, out experienced, and now the time bank has to be a disadvantage. We don't know how much, but it's not fun when you have 5 seconds each street, no matter what, to think about. So definitely that is against him as well.
Another kind of setup hand here with both players flopping top pair.
Picking the last winner just because it could be over any moment. We're going to get that up in a few. Again, remind you to hit the subscribe button, thumbs up. If you're enjoying the show, that will be the part of the giveaway. And then the keyword, which I just put out there, GGWSOP space, bracelet space, enter your GGPoker username. If you don't have a GGPoker account in a jurisdiction you can play, maybe gift it to a friend, use their name, split it with them, gift it to them, however you want to do that. As we see, this is, okay, King 8 on the King 6-3. So this is another unfortunate spot. This is, again, the small bet, though. Could probably won't go broke here, but could lose a decent amount of chips. And King 8, is it good enough to raise and heads up? Yes, it is. Says, all right with the flush, all right with the 7, running 7s, just not really counting that as a thing. Makes it 748. And this is a tough ass to fold, and I would not, and Defanu doesn't, and the gap does widen.
Well played. Yeah, and Jans must be very conscious that when Dafano makes it that size on the river, that his top pair, after it goes check check on the turn, is definitely good enough to raise, as you mentioned. If Dafano actually had a 7 for trips or anything, he would probably just make it a larger size on the river.
King 3, King Deuce, amazing. They're both pairing up, same cards here, and heads up so hard to make a pair, but King 3, King 2 are chopping until the 3. And hey, when it's your day, it's your day. And this is just another unfortunate pot where it's going to go from chopping to a win, maybe a block bet, but could just check and decide. See if Jan's probably goes pretty big here too, just realizing that as played, 2 pairs almost surely good. And maybe if there's some showdown with the jack or whatnot, or somehow a king, he's just deciding that going big. And again, this is tough with no time to think, and you have a pretty good hand in heads up, you're going to call. And this is now getting to the looking close to the end. It's not over, Xuan, but this is different now than 4-1.
Yeah.
This difference.
10 to 1. Yeah, just about.
Yeah. And this is Jack 8 suited to A7. We could see it end right here if the best hand holds. We will have a 4-time champion, but no, not going to be running aces. Not going to happen. And that is tilt, he says. So he knows, though, it's still pretty safe. Not close to over, but it is getting close to it. So yeah, that is not going to end yet. It's not over. It's not over until it's over. It's a still continuation here. Jack 7 though, going to pair for Jans. What's your favorite form of poker? You like playing shorthanded, six-handed, seven? Like if you're in a cash game, let's say, what's your like ideal number? What do you think is the right number to play that's fun?
6 to 8 players is my comfort zone. You know, get to play enough hands, but also make it so like you don't have to be super on the ball every single pot.
Yeah.
In
Yep.
case, you know, you want to like check your phone a couple of hands or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, there's still a lot of playability, right? Still 20 big blinds or so for Dafano.
Yep. Picks it up, makes the right bet, right place. So often again, Jans. It's just in a way when I watch these, I'm excited and I feel like I'm learning. And some of it, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, man, these players play so well. There's so many spots where I'm just like, they're just right spot on. It's a mix of it, but I do think that again, it's fun to watch. It's like if you're watching at home, make notes, make questions, think of things that you would do differently. Or if you don't know why they're doing something, take a note, ask a question with someone who does play a lot of poker or in a community you might have or a group. And I think that's the best way to learn is to ask questions and not judge. Oh, this looked bad or this was wrong or this player is, how many times, like thinking about it now too, if you look back the game 5 years ago, 10 years ago, people that actually were doing stuff that like maybe would be being said that it was, oh, that's bad or this, wow, that seems wrong. And like they were actually ahead of the time. So like, I think that's a good thing to think about is before you're quick to judge someone or make an assumption that you might be the one behind the 8 ball or there's a reason for it. And just like GTO Wizard also illustrates that there are more than one option to do things. And I think that's what's fun about poker as we see pretty easy fold there with the bluff as ace 5 makes the wheel. Just the 5 enough was for the straight. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what's cool about poker is there is more than one way to play hands. I do wonder about I say this about the randomizing though. I feel like that's a bit of a cop out. That's kind of how I thought originally. Like, people like they decide to do something, they roll a number. It's kind of like, all right, at some point you got to take responsibility for mixing an exploit or mixing that the right breakdown of what you should do and do it. Because you hear that sometimes. If you're back and you're taking action to someone and they tell you I rolled a 7 or I rolled this and then they punt it out of a tournament. It's not so fun to hear. But do you do any randomizing?
I do, but it has to be a very specific situation. Most games I play, I don't need to randomize.
Yeah.
However, if it's like on stream and like I kind of want to do a thing, but I know like you're really not, but like my instinct just tells me I should. Sometimes I'll just roll to like give myself an excuse and a chance to do something out of line. But in general, like yeah, unless you're playing the best players in the world, you probably don't need to be super balanced. There's always going to be data points that should, lean you in one direction or another. Just like don't use it as an excuse to justify, wanting to punt, like I just described.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. All right, 6-7. He says, I'm going for it here. I'm laying it down. I'm at least going to say I put a big bluff heads up against the world-class 3-time champion of the GGMillion. And 6-3, this would be quite a way to end it, just to call it off at the 6 or 3. One of the it is a pair. It's hold'em, clubs miss, stuff missed, 4x, 5x miss, and he's just got a random bluff, no 4 or 5 even, which is blocking the straights. And Jans, I wouldn't put it past him to call, honestly. This is not like an insane call. It would be a very good call, but I would not put it past him as he is using some clock. Again, we could see a 0-0 shot clock. We could just see a champion. 4-time, click call, game over. That is on the table. The drama, the time bank. He's taking it down. Uh-oh. The longer he thinks, the less I like Defanu continuing on in this arrangement.
Yeah, Jans is probably wondering like how frustrated Dafano is.
There
Oh,
it is. I
wow.
mean, might as well go out with a big call on a big show with big prizes, big guests, everything. Everything was just was great. 4-time winner. Congrats to Jans. Congrats to everyone today. Such a fun final table. We lost multiple players very quickly, and then at the end it did take a while, but we had an amazing show. We had Xuan just took down the Triton. I love saying it because it's such an exciting thing. She was joking, it's not a big Triton, but it is. It's 860,000. It's a title. It's exciting, and you're obviously playing great poker, and we appreciate that. Tell me your biggest takeaway today. What was the most fun? Maybe a hand or a player? What stood out for you?
Honestly, watching so many of these guys make fun, unconventional moves makes me like excited to get back out there and play some more tournaments. Thanks for the inspiration.
Yeah, it's fun, and as I said, it's no guarantee, but often great results happen frequently after coming on and being a guest or being part of the show. And you see, if you had Jans today at 7.2 to 1, put a little wager on, you could add a nice return. Also, the Defani was close, 10.82. The favorite went out in fourth. Chris really played well. Something that stood out for me was that thin value bet on the 4 spades with the I think it was. Yeah, he had a 2-pair, ace-10, he rivered, and he bet it when there was 4 spades, got called, and a lot of great bets, a lot of great folds. I thought this was one of the more well-played final tables. Excuse me, and again, appreciate your time, Xuan. Thank you so much, and everyone watching, we really do appreciate it. We're having a great time here on the GG Millions. I will be in Vegas for the main. We're going to be having the show each week. We're going to continue having a great community here. Again, we'll see you in Vegas, and best of luck. Congrats to those winners today, the $350 ticket winners, still on Twitter. Jeff Gross Poker, you guys are still eligible. I'll pick a winner on that. And Xuan, I will see you in Vegas, and it's going to be a nice dinner. I'll bring my wife, and if you want to bring one, I only count for 2. We're not going to make you pay a 4-person dinner, but I do appreciate it. There's a lot of good restaurants in Vegas, and I hope you have a bracelet by the time I'm out there in a few weeks. Another one. So we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you to everyone for watching.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeff.